name is Mackenzie Keetley, and welcome to the FNRad podcast. Thank you.
No, but
I feel great and special.
I wanted to talk to.
I'm gonna start my own channel soon. Hi.
And hello. Can you hear my voice in there?
Yes.
Your dad was just talking about doing a cartwheel out of a helicopter.
Yeah, so then I got crazy whiplash.
Skids too.
That?
That is a movie that you will never see.
Well, not till you're 17.
Even when you're 17, don't watch that movie.
Why?
Well, basically, all the guys in it are doing dumb things.
Okay.
Let me give you an example.
They do weird stuff.
I wouldn't say it's as weird as much as it's dumb.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of a TV show called Jack?
No.
Good. Have you ever watched the whiskey videos?
No.
That's not your... Yeah, I guess it's not really on YouTube. Okay, so give me an example of a kind of video that you would watch on YouTube, please.
Call me Haley.
Call me Haley?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, you could do Call Me Kenzie. That would
Call
work.
me Kenzie.
All right. Say, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Call Me Kenzie podcast.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the Call Me Kenzie podcast.
Nice. Today we're going to be talking about...
Stuff.
And we're going to unbox this new video.
Wow, great.
It's called Skids 2.
Oh, my.
What do you think happens in this one?
I don't know.
When is the last time you went snowboarding?
3 weeks ago, probably.
I think I saw you last time you were there.
Yeah.
What's your favorite mountain?
Seymour.
And what makes Seymour the best?
Because my dad was like sponsored on it and stuff.
Okay. Do you hit jumps or what do you do?
I kind of just go down runs and stuff.
Yeah. Let's say unicorn.
Unicorn.
You ever go down unicorn?
No.
Just say I go down unicorn every day.
I go down unicorn every day.
Welcome to Call Me Haley. Today, my guest is Call Me Kenzie.
Hi.
Where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
Canada?
Yeah, here.
Right where we are?
Yes.
How many cats do you have?
1.
What do we call the cat?
Bogey.
Call Me Bogey. Welcome to Call Me Bogey podcast with our guest, Call Me Kenzie.
Call me Kenzie. Yes. And he's coming over here. And he loves it.
He's a little bit bigger than you.
Hey, buddy.
He's got stage fright.
Yeah, he's scared.
All he cares about is food.
He loves food.
All right, Kenzie, I want to thank you for being on the show. Is there anything you want to say to your classmates?
Hi, Sienna. Hi, Sophia.
Hi, Sienna. Hi,
Sophie.
Sophia. Hi, Sophie. Hi, other Sienna. Hi.
Your friends.
Hi, Mernaz. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks for being on the show. That was really fun.
You're welcome.
All right.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Done? Okay, you gotta take the headphones off.
Okay. My dad's really cool, and also, like, you should like and subscribe.
Oh, that was so sick. FNRad is presented by Flojoy water, which is purified by granite rocks. Flojoy, a true gift of nature, and Chris Roach. And Essential Toothpaste Tablets, travel-ready, eco-friendly toothpaste your taste buds will enjoy. Wired Snowboards factory in Vancouver builds high-quality custom snowboards for about the same price as other brands' regular boards. I've created several one-of-a-kind wired customs, including a Chase 162 that's seen hundreds of my best powder days. Get yourself a game-changing snowboard and join the Wired team with Devin Walsh, Sasha Daly, and many others. Wired Snowboards. For more information, go to wiredsnowboards.com. Fixed bindings are FNRad. The comfort, performance, and quality of fixed bindings stokes me out every time I snowboard. Their commitment to making bindings that work amazingly and give you no issues puts Fix ahead of other binding brands. It's just that simple. Buy Fix bindings at an authorized dealer or go to fixbindingco.com. Bluebird Coffee Tuning and Rentals in Squamish is the coolest new stop on your way to Whistler. Bluebird offers quality board tunes using state-of-the-art equipment, premium rentals for every level of rider with demos of Burton step-ons, and award-winning coffee and incredible smoothies. For a blend of expert knowledge, convenience, and lots of charm, stop by Bluebird in Squamish and get your board tuned at the newest mandatory stop on your way to Whistler. Pro Standard makes the grill mount the best mount for your Insta360 GoPro or DJI camera. It's a heat-moldable mouth mount, tripod, hand grip, hook mount, bottle mount, wall mount, clamp mount, glove mount, and shoe mount designed by snowboard legend Ken Ochenbach to get you the perfect angle for snowboarding, surfing, biking, and it'll replace 90% of your other mounts. Use code FNRad to get 20 off your first order at prostandard.com. Anon snow goggles enhance and protect your vision with unmatched optical clarity. Anon's Magnatech quick lens change technology allows you to swap lenses with ease. All Anon goggles are engineered to deliver no fog days and pair perfectly with Anon helmets and MFI magnetic face masks. Get yourself the best goggles at an authorized Anon dealer near you. Support also comes from our friends at the Boardroom Snowboard Shop. Check out boardroomshop.com and use code FNRAD10 for 10% off regular priced items and FNRAD5 for 5% off sale items. 1910, the collaborative artworks of Jamie Lynn and Scofe. FNRAD20 saves you 20% off at 1910.com. New Greens, the superfood green drink sourced from American farms. Use code FNRAD for 20% off at newgreens.com. I want to thank DeKind Snowboard outerwear, travel bags, and backpacks, Rip Curl's Anti-Series outerwear, and our friends at Mount Seymour, Grouse Mountain, and Cypress Mountain for their support. Jeff Keetley is a skid. When the Seymour kids started putting out movies, Keetley was a pro rider for Sims, then Invasion and Atomic. He's been on Intuition since the beginning. Jeff started his own pro camp at Seymour even for a few seasons, and as you'll hear, has had a long and storied career as a professional snowboarder.
I don't know. That was the 80s, man. Like Cal Streets for me, I was like a Grom. I got my first snowboard from Cal Streets, a Burton Woody 145.
In 88. Probably even earlier than that.
Yeah, probably 80. I think the Burton Woody was about 1984.
That was when they were new.
Yeah, but I got it as a used board. It had no metal edges. It had a fin in the middle. It had the horrible one-piece binding with the clip straps.
Yep.
And
Fast
every time you
straps.
made a turn, they would loosen on you.
Oh, like they would just loosen like belts. Like
It was like your backpack strap where it clips
Yeah,
together
yeah,
and then
yeah,
it's
yeah.
got the pull piece. That's what the straps were on it.
Right, so you'd pull it tight.
I'd pull
and
it
then
tight.
You would ride down, it would vibrate loose.
Well,
and-
as you made
yeah.
turns, they would loosen off on you and your heel would start to lift. So I got to the point where I like stapled them in place and
No.
like duct taped them so that they couldn't come apart.
That seems terrible. That's a bad idea.
But that's how it was back then.
Yeah, of course.
And then I think, I started in grade 7 because Kevin and Derek were a year older than me. I had just moved out to Deep Cove we moved out to Deep Cove in 88.
Yeah.
And I did 1 year in grade 7 at Sherwood Park. And then they were a year ahead of me. So they were in Sea Cove already. But I met them through the neighborhood, like just skating
And
around.
Are you guys, are you going to Seymour already at that point? Because they start to allow it in 88.
I remember Kevin, his first sponsor was Deep Cove Bike Shop. And then he got a GNU Chaos through Chaz.
Cool.
And
Oh, Chaz. I haven't heard that name in so long.
And I remember, so there's a elementary, up by my parents' house on Indian River at the bottom of Seymour, there's a elementary school just past their house on Indian River. It's called Dorothy Linus. So when that school was being built in the winter, they had dirt piles everywhere. And I had met Kevin and Derek by then, and they were like, "Oh, we're going up to the school area to snowboard because it was snowing."
Right.
And they were learning hand plants, and I think Kevin was trying to do J-tears already.
Oh, wow.
Like we had this area where it was like a flat section of dirt, and then it dropped in like a quarter pipe.
Wow.
And we had shaped it into like a quarter pipe.
Perfect.
like Kevin, I think, was trying to flip J-tears and put his hand down and stuff. Like I was just trying to do maybe a hand plant.
So were you friends with those guys from school, or just once it was just like a snowboard connection?
I think I just met them through, because when I moved out to that area, I was skateboarding, but I didn't know anyone. So I was kind of like just skateboarding through the neighborhoods. And at Kevin's parents' house, which is just on the other side of Dorothy Linus.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know, but his brother was into BMXing and they had a BMX half pipe.
Nice.
Right, like next to their house, but it was on public property. Like they just, on the boulevard next to their house, they built, but it was BMX ramp. So it was like not the greatest. And I think they had a chain or a board across it, but I saw it and I found it. And then I think like, I don't know, it was so long ago. Maybe I ran into Kevin and introduced myself. And and then like the next year I went to Sea Cove and they were already there. So it was like, then we met. And
so did you wind up with those guys going up Grouse? Like one of their dads was a bus driver that did the Grouse.
Kevin's dad.
Kevin.
Nick. He worked for BC Transit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin had the keys to the buses. He could just hop on the bus anywhere. And yeah, I think him and Derek were going to Grouse. And then like the first time I ever went up Seymour, I literally took an old pair when I was like little. I think I was 11 when I first started. And I took a pair of old soccer shoes, screwed them to a skateboard backwards because skateboards didn't have kick noses then.
Yeah.
And my dad took me up Seymour and I waxed the bottom of the skateboard. And I like by the rentals building, there was a little hill there. And I literally put my shoes on, tied them up, screwed to the board.
Yeah.
And then just went down the hill.
Yeah.
And I didn't go, like I went 40 feet maybe, but it was
I remember my friend Bernard he made a snow half pipe in the front of his house.
Yeah.
I don't know if he nailed shoes to the thing or not, but I remember he laminated crazy carpet material to the base of a skateboard, and I think it was like I had to ride it backwards kind of thing. But at that time I already had like a black snow, so I remember looking down on him a bit, being like,
I didn't know, I had seen it somewhere, like maybe I saw them in Cal Streets or something, and I just had the idea, like I had an old skateboard and I was like, well, I don't have bindings, so I'll just screw my shoes to it. But then then you're stuck in the thing, and my dad had to like literally come to the bottom, pick me up, put me over his shoulder, carry me back to the top because I'm stuck and my feet are probably freezing.
Right,
like, you know, you're a kid, but and then there was that. So then that was. So
you have a brother too, yeah?
That's a bit of a story, but I have a brother who was originally my cousin.
Okay. Yeah. I knew he was adopted, or there was something.
We might as well just tell the true story. His mother was murdered.
Oh wow.
In our
Sorry
family.
to hear that.
No, it was at the time it was the biggest story in Vancouver. It was all over the province and stuff. And I don't need to go into too much detail, but my parents took him in because his own dad wouldn't take him because his new wife didn't want anything to do with him.
Oh wow.
So my parents took him in, and then I was about 8, he was about 5 when it all happened, and from then on we were kind of like brothers. So
was he really close to you with the snowboarding thing, or did he not?
Him and I are polar opposites.
So he was like more of a book nerd kind of thing?
He's a total computer guy.
Computers.
Like video gamer, online gamer type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously with what he saw at the age he was at, he definitely had problems throughout life.
Oh man.
He was, my parents were taking him to counselors, and I mean, he was a good kid, had a good head on his shoulder, but he was obviously fighting demons. And
so difficult.
Anybody would. I mean, if I really got into it, he would probably just be like, yep, I get it.
Crying, right? Yeah,
yeah. All the stuff that you talk about on the show all the time, like the Haven and stuff like that, like when I hear all that stuff, and even like the one you did with Roberta with her head injury, like my father, he's dealt with a traumatic head injury himself.
Right.
So like he's lucky to be alive, and to me, he's my champion.
Yeah.
Like I've watched him go from literally death to building a successful business. And, you know, I get to spend the time working with him every day. I mean, we have our ups and downs. We fight with each other as any father and son would.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, whenever I say that, they're like, man, I wish I got to hang out with my dad all the time and stuff. So,
yeah, you
know, I can't put a micro stick in his head for a memory stick and download all the information that he has from 50 years of welding. So, you know, he's my teacher all the time. And
super sick. Yeah.
We have our ups and downs because it's like, it's his business. I get it. He built it and I'm proud of him for that. But, you know, I've been doing it with him for 15 years now. And we're at a point kind of like, you know, it's like, and he won't retire. He enjoys what he does, so it's whatever.
Yeah, your dad was really cool.
He's always been helpful.
He welded for Seymour at some point,
Yeah,
didn't
he
he?
made rails.
He made a bunch
fixed
of
their
rails.
machinery.
He welded for Boardroom when I was there too.
Yeah.
Like there was stuff
Yeah,
that we
we've
needed
done lots
done.
of work for Murray. We put propane cages. We fixed the transfer truck whenever the back of it would break, and just whatever anybody needs, we just make it. Like, I don't even really consider myself a welder. I'm just like, I don't know, like a master builder. I make people's problems go away.
Sure,
that's what my job is.
sure,
So,
sure. Well, that's cool that you and your dad were so tight. It must have been a strain on the relationship to have your cousin as your brother and the whole, the eyes of everybody kind of on you because the story was such a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of made the mistake in high school of telling people what happened. Mm-hmm. And I think people targeted him for that. So he
targeted him, like just bullying.
Picked on him, yeah. Bullying, all that stuff. And there was times where I had to go tear people's faces apart. But,
yeah,
it is what it is. There was no animosity between the two of us because he was so in his world and I was so in mine. It was just like, and we were about 4 years apart. So that was like, I was just right in, like from like the age of, like I said, I started at 11 and then by 13 I had my first sponsor.
Right.
So it's like, it just,
which was
NFA,
it
Mark
Sims?
Stacy.
NFA. Damn, wait, no, we're I don't want to skip the Virgin thing too. That was
about the same time too. Yeah. So
Mark Stacy.
I grew up. So I started skating at Griffin Bowl tons with Alex Chalmers, and he was always there, and I was always there, and we were both kind of pushing each other all the time. And then through Alex, because Alex was the Centennial. Edgemont crew, Hansworth crew. There was like Jim Barnum and Steve Parnell and his brother Anthony and Colin McKay and those guys. Colin was on his own path already, but that was that crew, and they all hung out at Griffin. So I kind of just met all them, and we were all skating together. And
so those guys are all 5 years older than you were.
Yeah,
so
but
you were like the kid.
I
in the
picked
crew.
up skating quick at that time in my life, and so
so that's why Barnum would pick you as a team rider for Virgin,
some young kid
with Dow, because like that's what you had to do. You want to have the young, good kid, right?
Anything to do with snowboarding for me stemmed from skateboarding.
Right.
Because I was already a good skateboarder at that point. And like when I got picked up, well, this is jumping ahead a little bit. When I got picked up on Sims, they didn't see anything to do with me snowboarding. The team manager showed up at Griffin Bowl, watched me skateboard for an hour, and put me on Sims.
What? Really? Who was the team manager? Malcolm?
It was, at the time, it was a lady named Allison, but her boss was Gayleen.
Gayleen, wow. So you knew Gayleen.
Yeah,
proper.
Gayleen was like part of bringing me into Sims.
Yeah, I want to have her on the show for sure.
She's
a legend.
Been through hell these days.
Oh,
she's rebuilding.
Know. Yeah.
She was in Maui when her place burned.
Oh, no.
I talked to Shannon and Tina recently. Well, I've known about it since the fires happened there, but yeah, her house got burnt. So
that sucks.
She's rebuilding.
Yeah.
And I would love to see her one day when I'm in Hawaii.
Yeah, her story's a good one. We need to tell it on the show for sure. So let's hit what happens with Virgin, because I think they made prototypes. They probably made 12 boards or 30 boards or something. Yeah. And they hooked up a couple of people.
Yeah, there was, I can't remember who they had.
Roberta.
I don't know if
it
was like, I don't know. This would be a Dow Barnum question, but I don't know if it was in California someone was making them, or if it was I don't think it was China.
They got screwed somehow.
Yeah, they sent them a bunch of money, and then the boards were.
I think what happened was they sent them money, and the board company, the manufacturer, went out of business.
Yeah.
And had made boards for other people and took their money and didn't pay them back and didn't send them boards. Yeah. But it was a fun, exciting company because Barnum, who's like a legit skater and a good snowboarder, Dow, who would go on to be, he
had his own amazing.
Yeah, had a really good career. And especially in those early days, like I remember his Neverboard back seven sequence, and it was a good it was really, really good for the time.
Yep.
And but anyways, they started their own company because they wanted to make twin boards. Because
I think I think the Virgin was probably the first wider boards.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, wanting wider, like the K2 Fat Bob thing.
Sure,
like they
sure.
were preemptive of that.
Yeah, it was really early too. So it was really
But
early.
I was asking Barnum the other night when we were skating, I was like, did those boards even have inserts?
I can't remember.
I think that what they had done is they had the ski technology thing where you screw into the board with a plate inside it. Like there was a metal plate inside
Possibly.
it. We ended up having to T-bolt them anyways. And
Yeah,
that was the era of the Matt Cummins thing with the kicked up nose. So we were cutting all the boards down, taking heat guns and trying to put vice grips on them and bending them up to have the ode to Matt Cummins.
Yeah.
But
I remember I got to see one because it was in the shop when I started. September of 1993, there was a Virgin board on the wall.
oh wow.
And I don't know if it was supposed to be getting tuned or
They
it
all
was a
fell
Team
apart.
Riders board or it was broken. We see if we could fix it. But it had cracked
Could have been
edges.
Roberta's.
It had cracked edges around the nose, right? Like where the edges
Yeah,
bent,
they were like
they were
little
segmented.
half-inch sections.
Yeah,
around.
yeah, exactly.
I can't even remember if they went all the way around the nose or not. If they were like libs.
But no, they didn't. They had like so you could cut them down
Yeah.
just like easy.
Because I think that they gave me like a 158 and I cut it down to like a 146.
sure.
So it would have had massive running edge, but no.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Anyways,
So that was only for a season, right? Like
they didn't last for very long.
yeah, they were gone.
Yeah. So
Did you have
basically,
to buy a board after that, or did you get that Acme that's in the pictures from?
well, I might
Swallow or
have bought,
something?
I think I got that Acme off of Swaro because he was on lib at the time. And I probably paid him for it. I don't know how much. Doesn't even really matter.
Probably $100 or
Probably
$50 or
something like that.
Yeah.
Because he was always coming up from the States and he'd always have,
Oh, he wasn't from here.
no, he was down in,
Bellingham or
I
something.
don't know where. I don't know. That's a Swaro story. He's been up here hanging out a lot at Chris Brown's, I think.
Dope.
Should try and connect with him while he's
Like
here.
Browner?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
He
good.
stays with Chris Brown and Kale.
Sick.
I think he's up here right now.
He was really influential, right? Like Swaro?
At the time, like he was kind of that young kid cat's ass dude. Like he was sick. He was
Yeah.
really good back
Yeah.
then. Like I think I remember meeting him through Paul Culling's camps at Seymour.
So Culling had camps at Seymour when he was on GNU?
Yeah. I think
Wow.
well Paul Culling was on GNU.
Yeah.
I think this is when would have been I know he was on West Beach and
Luxury
I
already,
think it
or-
was luxury, beginning of luxury era.
I didn't know that Culling had a camp.
Yeah, Kevin was in it.
That's so wild.
And
were
he
his
was on his
coaches?
mystery air board.
Who were the coaches?
I want to say like Jay Gunzig or like
That makes sense.
all those West Beach dudes.
Yeah.
All the guys that were on West Beach at the time, like Jay Gunzig,
Jay Bomber.
Jay Balmer. I don't remember who else. Kevin Young, maybe.
Yep. Dano was on West Beach.
Yeah, could have been Dano.
He would have been
I
on the
remember
Sims
Kevin was
board.
definitely. Derek was probably in the camp. Swaro might have been in the camp too, actually, now that I think about it.
And what was the?
Seymour had a little half pipe on Mushroom Park.
Oh wow.
Hand dug.
Before
where Mushroom Park is?
Yeah, before they dug.
There was a
one
little
that's-
half pipe
yeah.
there. Oh, this is way before.
So
This is
much
like,
before. Yeah.
like early 90s for sure.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So then, yeah. So
What was the format of the camp? Like, was it like?
It was just like it was like a
for
Craig
March
Kelly
break
camp.
or
Yeah, it
something.
was probably like a week camp or a weekend camp or something.
For March break.
You'd have to ask Paul on that one. He'll
yeah,
know.
yeah. I'd imagine he would know because he would go down to Mount Hood a bunch, calling,
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure.
and he was like good friends with the Mervyn guys.
Yeah, no, I know that he did something at Seymour. I just can't remember what the name of his camp was.
Probably Paul Culling's camp.
But it had a name. I just can't remember what it is.
Awesome.
Kevin might know, or I don't know. Someone will know.
So,
So yeah, so then Barnum got me on Virgin.
yeah.
Probably just basically by skating and stuff. And then I went in the West Beach Classic in 92. That was my very first big snowboard contest.
Yeah,
I mean,
they were
I think
huge
I had
back
done
then.
BCSA things.
Yeah.
But then I went in the West Beach Classic and I was in the junior category. And it was my first contest. I went in, I registered, I got my bib. I was bib number 1.
What?
I had to go first in the whole entire contest.
Sick.
The whole entire contest, all the pros, like Kevin Young, was all there.
everybody was there.
Everybody's there.
Big names
I think
were there.
Palmer was there even.
Palmer was there. Definitely.
Anyways, Yeah, I think even
Roach was there and Rankwit were there.
I remember, so there was a half pipe day, which is beautiful and sunny.
Yeah.
And then there was a border cross day, but it was more like a race course. Like only one person went at once, but it had like the whoops and the jumps, but it was
It's an obstacle course.
Yeah, it was kind of like, it was like a bank slalom almost,
Yeah,
but it had
yeah.
like the Salmon Arms one.
Yeah, yeah,
It had
cool.
like little jumps or gaps or
Very
whatever.
cool.
And I was sitting there the next day for that race. My buddy Mike Flanagan, we went to high school together. We were sitting there in the pissing rain, waiting to do our runs up on the top of Whistler, sitting under a tarp, staying dry with Jamie Lynn and Chris Jameson.
JMO.
The four of us just sitting under like we took one of the sponsor banners and turned it into a tarp because it was raining so bad. We just sat there. But yeah, Jamie Lynn was like just as young as us at the time. He was just
And
like,
that was at Whistler, yeah?
That was at Whistler for the West Beach Classic 92.
Yeah.
And then at the finals, I ended up winning the contest for
Juniors.
half pipe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I won. And then as soon as I stepped off, I won a pair of Airwalk Airwalk free ride boots with the ankle strap across them.
Those were
The
good.
brown ones.
Those were really good.
Not the half pipe ones.
With the shoe inside?
Or the neoprene liner.
Yeah, there was ones that had a shoe inside
Yeah.
that you could wear as like a
Yeah,
a
I remember
shoe
those.
out
Yeah, you
there.
could pull it
Yeah,
out. It was
yeah.
like had a sole on it.
They were so soft.
So,
But
yeah.
so were yours. The free rides had no support
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I mean that was like you might as well have had white Sorels on at that point.
They were dope though.
Mm-hmm.
People wanted them.
It was Airwalk in its heyday.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So you won you won boots.
I won boots because I was in juniors or whatever, and then I stepped off the podium, and Mark Stacy walked right up to me, and he's like, "Hey, I'm starting this company. You want to ride for us?" And I'm like, "Okay, sure."
NFA, perfect.
Yeah, I'm starting this company, NFA, and it was me, Jim Barnum, and Sheen Campos were the original three, and then I think Jeremy Atkinson from Mount Washington came on,
Yep.
and that was the beginning of it. And like that cover shot, 1993, Concrete Powder. I'm wearing an NFA shirt.
Sick.
So that
Yeah.
was, I don't know. I can't
They
remember.
did the first Blockbuster in
Yeah.
like 93 or 94.
Someone just
yeah.
posted a
Yeah.
video of it,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
me in it.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm not doing a trick, but I was just like, that whole video is basically Alex Chalmers. He killed it back then. He was
Sure.
just like on fire. But I was just skating.
You guys
up to
are
a
the
quarter
same
pipe.
age?
I think he's a year older than me.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
So NFA, you're on that.
Yeah.
They had good gear.
Yeah.
I remember it was knockoff of something else, or no, maybe I'm
No,
thinking
he
about
was just
United.
he was,
United was
I mean,
a
unless he
knockoff
was
of
like
NFA.
ripping off Yuki Namaki
No,
or like
no,
Wave
there was
Rave.
something
It had that
else.
style, like the big collars
Yeah.
and like the anorak style with like the
Anorak,
pullover.
yeah. But it was cleaner logos. It was smaller. It
was like simplistic.
We could not keep that in at the boardroom. Like we just kept selling out and selling out. And
You
selling
guys
out.
picked up NFA when it first came out.
It was okay. So I moved here in '93, and
Yeah.
it was the major company of that year.
Yeah.
We had like one rack of everything else and 5 racks of NFA.
Wow.
And it went really well. It was Ultrex. Remember, like when it was like good quality outerwear.
Yeah. I mean, it kept me dry.
Yeah.
And I mean, once you start getting it free, it's
And it was fat. It was like the right.
It was
size.
all baggy.
It
was
wasn't
like,
quite as fat as the West
the
Beach
West
went
Beach
too
was
crazy.
out of control. Yeah, but it was big and baggy.
Yeah, I loved it. I was really proud of it.
Yeah.
I thought this shit's the best. And okay, so
then I think I was only with them for like 1 or 2 years, because then, like I just told you, I was scared. I had a friend. There was a group of friends at Griffin, and one of them knew the team manager for Sims.
yeah,
And I was like, "Hey, I know so and so. Like, I should see if I can get you on Sims." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, that'd be great. I don't care." Like,
Sims was sick as shit right then.
that was the golden era.
Yeah.
That was Noah Selaznick. That was Aaron Vincent. That was Neil Drake. That was Sheena, Al Clark, Kale, half of Whistler, like Waylon Edwards.
yeah. Oh yeah, wailing on that little Sims board.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of who else.
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, there was a lot of Ian
Roach
Beer.
was still on there.
No, he wasn't. I think he was on Santa Cruz.
You go to Santa Cruz to get that.
Chris Kevin was
model
on
right.
Santa Cruz when I was on Sims. I think Chris Roach was still on. I don't know.
Could be.
That's a Chris question.
Yeah.
Thanks for the Flojoy, Chris. But yeah, so then this friend of friend contacted their friend that worked at Sims. Her name was Allison. I remember. I can't remember her last name. Super nice lady. And she came, hung out, and saw me skate. And then literally, like, by the end of hanging out with us at the skateboard bowl, she was like, "So can you come out to the warehouse and pick up some stuff?" It was Umbro Warehouse on Annacis Island.
Okay, so it was after Bob and Todd. So Bob and Todd were the Airwalk and Sims reps right up until Umbro.
Bob and Todd.
Are
they the ones that did M3?
They may have done M3.
Later in life?
They may have done M3 after.
I remember when, like, later after Sims and Option, I had a brief stint with M3 and MLY, and I couldn't remember who the reps were that were doing it here, and that's who I was through.
Might have been Bob and Todd. I can't remember. I just remember, like, so for me, I move out here. I'm working for the boardroom.
Yeah, you meet lots of people.
You meet the reps, right? Like, and so I wanted Airwalk boots. I had some Airwalk advantages in size 11 and a half. My feet are still now a 9. Yeah. And they were huge.
Trust me, you know what? Actually, Jeff Moore sold me a pair of Burton Two Tongues that were like, I don't know, size 9 or 10 or something. And I was an 8.
That's amazing.
And just because I wanted the Burton Two Tongues.
So talk about Jeff Moore a little bit, because Barnum was like, Jeff Moore basically like took his leave from snowboarding because the community just was kind of lame to him. And he was like, fuck it.
Honestly, I don't need this shit. Like, I was never like super tight buddies with Jeff Moore. Like, I was always at parties with him, and I was like kind of, I mean, he was busy. He was a wicked filmer. He filmed a lot of Collins stuff for the Plan B videos. So he was down in that cool guy zone. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I knew him through Kevin and Derek, because Kevin and Derek were all really good buddies with them. And he lived with them, I think, in Whistler, because Kevin and Derek started going to Craig Kelly's camp.
Sick.
And doing the Whistler summer thing, the camps, way before I did. And so I think they all lived together in Whistler, like Little Dave, Jeff Moore, probably Roberta, maybe Kevin and Derek. I think they all had a house.
Rad.
So Kevin and Derek would probably be the better people to talk about Jeff Moore. I knew him through friends, but
he was a part of the Seymour Kids, kind of, or he was outside.
Honestly,
of that even
everybody in that era was a Seymour kid. The early 90s. Yeah. You can call it what you want. Devin was a Seymour kid. Dion, everybody. Graham, Clements, Roberta, everybody. Little
Spencer
Dave.
And Scott Forbes.
Yeah, everybody. Like, we all grew up hanging there, and then, it evolves.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the first hint of Seymour Kids? Like, what?
Well, Kevin and Derek and their friend Christos and Dominic, I think, they were their own little posse up at Seymour, and they called themselves the Green Toque Posse, because they all had they got these like green toques, like these fleece toques from like Mountain Equipment Co-op.
Awesome.
And like they had this little Green Toque Posse thing. Yeah. And then like,
I remember John Harris. We haven't mentioned John. But
yeah.
John Harris came into the boardroom.
Yeah.
And he said, I want an all-white toque.
Yeah.
That's what we're all going to have this year. Yeah. And I was like...
There was always trends every year. There was always trends. Whatever was cool.
Harris was my favorite because he was so quiet. He was like...
Yeah, I know. He was the quiet beast.
Yeah, beast.
Because when he was on a snowboard, he ripped.
Oof.
And he was the nicest dude.
His brother's an incredible comedian, actually.
Yeah.
Really good.
Another friend of mine, I think, hangs out with his brother.
Dave. Yeah, Dave Harris is... Yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Download his comedy. Anyways, yeah. So without getting off track, the first time where you call yourself a Seymour kid, like, are you...
I don't know.
Sims era?
Yeah. I mean, I was probably into the Sims. I mean, I was already snowboarding with Kevin and Derek, like with the, like even like the Virgin board, the LibTech Acme that I got through Swaro. And then, Sims was a huge jump for me, because that took me from like local amateur to like, this is back in the golden era of snowboard where team managers like took care of you. Like,
sure.
Like,
do you remember your first contract? Was there a contract?
Yeah. I mean, I started amateur with Sims, and it was like everything. You got photo incentive, you got contest incentive, you got video incentive, and then like if you placed at a contest, you'd get incentives, like everything as an amateur. And then like pretty much I'm not going to say as much of the product as you want, but I think there was budget. I mean, they had budgets back then, but like, I can't remember, like $5,000 in product for the year or something like that. But this is at like cost prices, not like retail prices, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I don't remember how many boards I would have a year, but anytime I wanted one, I would just order it.
Yeah.
So it was, and then, like I said, that Lady Allison came and saw me. And basically after seeing me skate, she was like, can you come out to the warehouse and grab some stuff? And then like, that was kind of my first, like, I had to say something to Jim and I had to say something to Mark, like, okay, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
It's never a fun conversation to have with anyone, but
you were leaving NFA because you could get Sims clothing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
everything.
Mark was still so infant in his business that I don't know if Sheen was a big pro at that time, so maybe he was paying Sheen, I don't know, but I was still so young. Like I got on Sims, I think when I was 15.
Right.
I was still super young. Like so much happened for me from like 13 to 15. It was just like a blur. And then, and then I got on Sims and I went out to the warehouse in Annacis Island, which was Umbro. And that was sick because they gave me all the seconds of Umbro stuff for free. I would go in there and there'd be boxes of stuff and they'd just be like, just take whatever you want. So I started skating in like the soccer style track pants before it was a trend. Just because they were comfy and your legs could move freely and stuff like that. So
that's right around
94,
95.
So, because I would go on Sims before I graduated.
Yeah, that's 94, 95. Anson, my buddy, actually worked at that Umbro.
Yeah, and the first year I was on Sims boards was the first year Shannon Dunn's Pro Model came out.
Oh, sick. Did you
That
ride
was the first board I rode.
Oh, nice.
And I had a published picture on it.
On the Sunflower.
Yep.
Oh,
I just sent it to Shannon the other day.
That's really
cool. She was
cool.
like, "Oh my God, this is incredible."
So Sansalone links up with the Intuition guys, and he makes that connection between Intuition and 32. And you probably get on 32 through Kevin at some point, don't you?
Yes.
You definitely get on Intuition.
Yes. So Kevin was already dealing with Rob from Intuition.
Yep.
And this, I'm talking like way back, like the purple Intuition liners, like with no fabric or anything on them. They were just like raw material.
Yeah.
And that was the best actually, because
I love those.
You took them off sweaty in the summer and they dried out so quick, and they weren't smelly because they didn't have anything in them.
Yeah.
And then I think I might have got a pair of Kevin's used ones or something like that.
Yeah, they were raw.
And he was like, you heat them back up and they just work again.
Yeah, they did.
So that's what I did. And I think I might have put those in Sims boots because the Sims boots then were horrible.
Oh, they were garbage.
They were really bad.
Yeah.
That was the bad year for Sims when I got on, unfortunately, because that was the year they did that 5x5 hole pattern where no bindings fit except their clunky, heavy bindings.
Super clunky. They didn't do the link binding yet. They would do the link the next after that.
Yeah, I helped them design that.
Really? Yeah, because
the big just clunky me, but one, I gave them input on it.
The big clunky one, the base plate was too short and it was fat.
Yeah.
Like,
and
so
then did you see the baseless version of those?
Oh, they were the worst.
It was even worse. That's why I can't ride EST bindings right now.
Still from those.
I have post-traumatic stress from Sims. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Those.
Thanks, Tom.
That was right in the middle of baseless bullshit. Like the worst.
Yeah, there was
absolute worst.
Was Ride doing them then, I think? Those Preston ones? Maybe?
Yeah. Even those, like, they looked cool, but they sucked. I rode them. They sucked.
Yeah. So then Sims was awesome. I 95 or 96. I got on the national team for Canada for half pipe.
Cool.
And Sims was stoked on that because they were about competition and
of course.
And so yeah, and then after
did you travel with the team? Did you go on any team shoots?
That? I was. We did a big one in California at Mammoth.
Sick.
With everybody, like Noah, everybody was there.
Oh wow!
There was the big one. This is like the famous one with Sims. We're in Lake Louise. We almost put the company out of business. The whole entire international team was there for 2 weeks at the Chateau Lake Louise.
Oh damn!
For 2 weeks.
And what's going down?
Everything was written off onto your room.
Oh no!
And there was no laundry there, so like I was hung out with Neil Drake a lot while we were there. Super rad.
Sick.
Dude. Super rad, dude. And we would go down to the gift shop every night and buy ourselves a new pair of underwear because There was no laundry to do your laundry.
That's insane.
And we would just sign it off to the room.
Oh, wow.
Every single night, the whole crew drank the bar out of Jägermeister.
That's messed up.
Oh, everyone was there. Trevor Graves, Mark Gallup, Tony Welch, Dano was probably there. Like, they brought in A-grade photographers.
Wow.
For like 2 weeks.
And how many team riders? Like 20?
Everybody. All the Canadian
30?
team, all the American team.
50? Like...
Probably, well, there was like, I know there was Noah, Aaron Vincent, Neil was there, Tina was there, Al Clark was there, Kale was there, Waylon was there, I was there, Ian Beer, JD.
Tina?
Tina was there because she was dating Alan at the time. They were there.
Sick.
And then
Palmer?
some of the American more amateurs like Sabrina Sadeghi, Jen Sharowski, who works with Nemo.
Oh, sick.
There was this other girl, Griselda Gonzalez. She was an American rider.
And what was the daily regimen?
It was just we were shooting photos for the next year's stuff for the catalog. It was a catalog shoot.
So there was like a room full of gear. You just go
We were all
set up
riding next year's
something.
stuff. Yeah,
You'd set up
you
some
pick up
next
like
year's
I was
thing.
riding Al Clark's next year's graphic.
Yeah.
I had a Sims ad from it. It was on the back cover of Snowboard Canada. It was 97 that trip.
Oh wow.
And I think we spent 80 grand on that trip.
Oh
Like
damn.
almost put the company out of business.
Yeah, of course.
But we did commercials while we were there too. So I don't know. It was for some big company in the States. So I don't know if they funded some of that or not. But
Did you?
I stayed an extra week. I have a VHS tape somewhere up there. It was for Snow Country. And it was like snowboard tips. They were trying to promote on TV snowboard tips. Like, hey, I'm Jeff Keetley. And this is how you do a toe side carve. Like they were kind of cheesy at the time, but it was like snowboarding was new to the mainstream, and it was
They were
like
trying to figure out how to.
they were
make
trying to
money
figure out how to
from it.
promote it and get people in and get people to buy it. And
Did you meet Tom?
yeah. I when Sims moved their main warehouse up to Bothell, Washington,
Yeah.
it was across the street from Microsoft,
Damn.
and they had a huge housewarming party there. They invited everybody in. They brought in like crazy gas powered like 125cc go-karts. Like this huge semi comes in, like, you know, the race car semis with like hydraulic lifts inside them.
Yeah.
So one of these pulls in and they had like this they make a racetrack into a figure 8.
Oh, that sounds like a lot
Like
of
a
crashing.
suicide.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, this is not going to go well. But
With
somehow,
all those guys you just mentioned too, like
Drinking.
team riders and everybody getting hammered.
yeah, in the States. So anyways, but yeah, I went down
In
for
Bothell,
that.
like in that's a suburb of Seattle.
Yeah, it's like on the east side, on the other side of the lakes.
Yeah, it's
there.
pretty sick.
Yeah, no, it was they're literally, you turn into the street and one side of it you turn into Microsoft and the other side you turn into Sims.
That's so rad.
Yeah, so I did a lot of trips down there. I would just drive down there, go see them, and they had like a sick mini ramp in the warehouse, so I'd go skate the mini ramp. I remember at that party I skated the mini ramp with Noah, and Aaron Vincent was there. And
Aaron's
they're killer skateboarders.
almost better than Noah's, people have said.
I'm
Like,
sure.
as a
Wasn't
skater?
Aaron mainly a skater over a snowboarder?
I have no idea.
I think he was.
I just remember being like, Noah's the best skater snowboarder that there is.
No, Aaron was pretty damn good.
Yeah. People have told me that for sure. Aaron's sick, dude. Like, just like a really super nice dude.
Oh, I haven't seen him since those days.
I saw him last year, man.
Was that at the
Legends of Tahoe.
Yeah.
He had Noah's board. His
was that the 8th
Street
Street
board.
one? I thought that was Chris Roach holding it. Was that Aaron?
This is Aaron.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Aaron's riding it. He's like, I ride Noah's board, bro. I
That
know.
board is worth.
Priceless.
I know.
That's the best thing. Like, that right there is probably the coolest shit in snowboarding, is that Aaron Vincent rides a priceless and fragile H Street board that Tony Mag probably made.
Yeah, who even made those?
Yeah, Tony Mag. Those guys made them.
But what construction is it? You've seen it. Was it like wood laminate, or was it like a skateboard, or was it like a ski?
It was like
With
a ski.
sidewalls.
It was like a ski.
So it wouldn't have been Tony Mag that made it.
Yeah, it was those guys. Yeah. I think someone in San Diego made it. I'm pretty sure. Maybe capital L, like Ernie
Yeah.
DeLost or someone. But definitely, like, fall apart. Like,
Yeah, I'm surprised it's still in one piece, to tell you the truth.
I
Especially
think
with those
that
Sims bindings
I think
on it.
there was rat nuts through it. I'm not 100%
Oh,
sure.
T-nuts, yeah.
But like, no, the little like rail ones for
Oh, really?
skateboards, like
Just
to
put
hold
them all over the
just
place?
to hold it together wherever it's delamming. Maybe I'm making that
People
up.
actually used to do that on the tips and tails when
Totally.
they were falling apart. I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah, exactly. Boards just fucking crapped out for so long.
Well, you know the era that we all went through where it was like Mervyn boards fell apart.
Yep.
You get a year with bad glue and it's like
Burton boards fell apart.
Oh,
like
everything.
everything fell apart.
I remember, everyone was like, "Oh, Burton boards have popsicle sticks inside them,"
God,
And then when they came out with that FL board, they were like, "What's inside it? Popsicle sticks, or
I don't remember.
poplar? Who knows? Who knows what the
I
wood
have
was?"
no idea.
But
I lost.
that was the
track of
that
all
was the
that
era
stuff.
of like everyone trying something to
Yeah,
be different,
sure.
stand
Air
out,
core,
to make sales,
all that stuff. Right.
So, but yeah, no, it was.
So how long does the Sims things last? 4
Sims
years?
things
or
lasted
something?
up to 2000, and then by then, because of the national team stuff and the half pipe stuff, I went through the age-old thing with Bruce Irving up at Camp Champions. Did my time as a digger, worked my ass off. Everyone, it was funny because I would always get heat stroke up there, and Kevin called it Keat stroke. It was funny. Good times.
Have you always been the same dude that I met? Because I met you in about 2000, around that time.
That would have been.
Or no, it was before that. Boardroom Big Air was 97 or 98.
Well, I won the first one.
Right. That's
I
where I
can't
would have
remember
met
what year
you.
that was. That was a grouse on the coming down the peak. They had a jump there.
That's right. In the fog. Like they gave us
it cleared up like literally for my
cans.
jump. I
Nice.
think.
Yeah. They had spray cans and was completely disorganized, even though they paid an event coordinator to do it.
Yeah,
Skippy.
No, I was on Sims for that contest.
Okay.
I remember because. Yeah, I don't remember what I did to get into the finals, but I was in the finals, and then.
Oh, they didn't have enough time for everybody to run, so you probably just did like
your two jumps. And
you
that
did
was it?
one jump of it, and then they were like, "Well, everyone's going to get 2," and you probably took 2 or 3, and then they saw you do it, and they said, "Okay, now it's finals," and they just picked like 12 guys.
Yeah, I mean the judging was so.
It was insane.
Whatever,
Well, you couldn't
back
even
then.
see, right? You couldn't see shit.
All I know is I did a front side 5 stale fish grab. So as I came around, it turned into a switch method.
Sure.
And then I had so much hang time for some reason. I grabbed switch indie after that. So I did like a double grab front, like a grab and then another grab in the air still. And I landed it perfect and it was spun perfect, I guess. And
I remember
I
you
won
the next year helping with the judging of the quarter pipe event at the Seymour stop. And it was...
There was a quarter pipe event?
There was a single quarter pipe event. People were doing
And I wasn't in it?
I think you were injured.
Oh, okay.
And Chris Nichols was announcing.
The MC?
Yeah.
obviously.
You remember that
He was
one?
a legend at
Yeah.
MCing
Yeah,
then.
he was the best. That was a fun one. And you helped with cutting the pipe, cutting the quarter pipe.
Probably from my
and
Camp
the
of Champions
judging.
days.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
Ken Achenbach.
And the judging. Yeah. So that was where we spent an afternoon together. And I was like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember that one. It's weird how everything just blurs together.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I remember was
you
it the
probably
next
don't
year
remember
that you guys
because you
did the
didn't.
slope style?
Yeah.
It was the winner take all 10 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got second or something. Didn't you? Third.
Well, I remember we went through the finals or whatever, and everyone was coming up to me after, like, "You won, dude! No way! It's so sick! Like, so stoked for
that
you."
was probably me, actually.
I don't think it was you. I think it was like Devin.
Okay.
Someone came up to me and they were like, "Dude, you won!
Yeah.
Like your run was sick." And then like the final or the awards happened, and then that kid who was like Sean Johnson's cousin, Stacy Ernween, or whatever his last name was, he like backflipped over the table, and that's why he won.
Yeah, I don't even know.
And then I think
don't
somehow in that wash, Chris Steves got second, but it was winner take all, so it didn't matter. Like,
So do you go from Sims to Invasion? Is that the next one?
No, I
Or
was
something in
coaching at
between?
summer camp, and so one person I missed out, Scott Rouse, best team manager on the planet. He took such good care of us at Sims. No one else is like him. But after he left Sims, Max from LibTech,
Von.
Von Marbod,
Yeah.
he became the new Sim. He was a Sims tech rep at the time.
Okay.
And then lots of stuff. Like, I think after this Lake Louise trip, like financials went.
Yeah, they're like, you gotta. Well, also Umbro sold it again, so there was a change of hands.
So basically, I was coaching summer camp. I was staying at Kevin's place in Whistler. Actually, no, sorry, it was Leonard Fong's place, our buddy, and Kevin was renting a room off of him before he bought his place in the same complex. And I got a call from Max, and he's like, basically, you can stay riding for us for free, or you can go find a new sponsor.
Right.
And I was like, so is this your way of cutting me?
Yeah.
And he was just like, we have no budget left. Like, shit was changing, getting crazy.
Totally.
And so basically, like, that was probably the first time I had been canned. Like, not really canned. Like, he gave me an ultimatum. Basically, I could have stayed riding for them, but I was like, well, I'll go look elsewhere. And
what did you find?
Well, I think I don't remember when I got on 32. But Kevin brought me into 32. He was already on 32 like a year or so before me. I think the first year, I remember riding the Etnies 32 boots. Like, they looked like an MC wrap. Like,
that's the very
but
first
I think
year.
I might have got those through Kevin. And that's maybe where I started getting the Intuition liners.
Could be.
Anyways, but then was the second year was the Peter Line Pro model?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I actually just had a pair of the prototypes of them that were brand new.
Oh, no way.
And I have held them since then.
Damn.
And like probably 4 years ago now.
With the airbag. So the story behind that boot is that a guy left Nike.
Yeah.
And he realized they didn't have the patent on the air sole,
like in the Air Maxes
for snowboard boot.
Yeah.
So he patented that
for snowboard
for
boots.
snowboard
Yeah.
boots, and then he sold that patent right.
But I think the difference was on the Nike one, it went right through the sole, and on the Peter Line, it was just on the sides.
That's right. And they
so
popped.
That was his way around
They sucked. They sucked.
No, they all broke and blew out, and
it was a bummer.
I started riding for 32 that year.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I guess I was kind of getting stuff through Kevin, and then he put in a good word for me and whatever. However, you know how it worked back then.
Yeah, well, he was on international.
Oh yeah,
right?
he was direct for sure. I was through Time Bomb.
You were
with
through
Garrett.
Time Bomb, right?
I can't. Dave Burney was the team manager forever, but there was someone before him though. I can't remember.
Randy or someone.
Who? Yeah, Randy. Yeah. Randy was a legend.
Holy Randy! Yeah, shout out Randy from Time Bomb.
Randy from Time Bomb. Is he still there?
Yeah, I don't know.
He's like there. It's like family there. Though.
Family.
Like,
He was the best.
Yeah,
he was also
so
the Dragon team manager.
Yeah.
So he would give me.
Yeah, I had a short stint with
goggles
Dragon. I rode for Oakley for like 12 years.
Oh yeah, you were on Oakley. That's right.
Yeah,
through Jen?
No, I was direct originally through the States.
How did you get on that?
At Mount Hood. So Sims brought me down to Mount Hood to coach in the summertime at Windell's.
Sick.
Got to skate with Noah at Windell's on the vert ramp, and Colby Carter, H Street legend. Like they had him as a skate coach.
Yeah.
So I got to skate this epic like spine mini ramp, bowl, hip, like.
Yeah, where was Windell's that year?
It was
not at the Arc and that whole complex.
No,
it was
no. It was pre.
He
that.
rented
it was
a place.
Pre that. He was,
and
in
it had a vert ramp, right?
It had a vert ramp that was behind the mini ramp.
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
Yeah, so that was a legendary summer. Yeah, and then
who was head coach at Windell's that year? Was it still
I don't
Pappas? Chris Pappas?
I don't remember who it was. I think that we didn't even have to deal.
Oh, Tom Nordwall.
We were just coaching like as guests.
Yeah,
because
guest coaches,
Sims rented a house at Govey.
Yep.
Right across from High Cascades.
Oh,
camp,
right.
Across from the Rathskeller.
Yeah,
We literally were in a bomb shelter
Yeah.
that was in the trees or something.
So sick.
And I remember like trying to sneak into the Rathskeller like every night, and they
As a
always
kid,
denied me.
Yeah.
So I was like a teen, or I was like 19 or 20. But so I met Jay Twitty. I think he's still in the industry with Volcom, maybe.
Yeah, I know the
Jay
name.
Twitty. He was amazing dude. I met him through summer camp down in Hood, and then he put me on Oakley, and then I went back home, and he was shipping me Oakley stuff. Like I'm talking early Oakley.
A-frames.
Like, A-frames and stuff. Like before the 3-dimensional lens came out.
Right, the O-frame was the first.
Remember when they did like the snow camo ones?
Totally.
Like that era of Oakley. Like Bjorn Linus was on at that point, and JP and all those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was direct with Jay Twitty.
Oakley was sick as fuck because Craig Kelly had been on Oakley.
Yeah,
Like, it
that was
like,
and it was like they were all about innovation too. It was like
materials,
taking it to the next level,
clarity through the lens,
and then
all
they
that
came out
stuff.
with the 3-dimensional lens, which they patented and stuff.
A-frame, right?
It's changed now. I've been talking to a friend who's a rep for Oakley, and he's like, it's not what it used to be. It's like they sold it to that luxury group or whatever.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like 12 years ago, they sold it to some high-end fashion luxury group that just they don't care about the technology anymore. They're just like pumping it out.
Well, the guy who owned Oakley also invented the red camera.
Yeah.
Like, so,
yeah.
I mean, the dude's an innovator.
Yeah. And like, I remember Dragon would get Oakley technology a year later.
That's right. Yeah.
They
I
had
remember
some
that
deal.
too.
I think
It was
one of
their
the guys that
optics.
worked for Oakley started Dragon.
Probably. That makes
So
sense.
he left, but he had some deal where he could like have
He could get the technology, at
use their
least the
technology,
lens
but
stuff.
a year later.
Yeah, sure.
So I was like, anyways, whatever. But it was, yeah. So I was with Oakley, and then after a couple of years with the States, they were like, okay, well, it's becoming expensive to send you stuff through the border and stuff. So they were like, we're just going to move you to the Canadian team, which was out of Quebec.
Yeah.
With Pierre Martin back in the day, but then he ended up moving down to Oakley in California. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but that was a long time ago. So I don't know. They've always made good product, and I'll
So
always.
what was between Sims and Invasion?
Well, 2000, like that's right when Sam Sloan won the X Games,
Right.
got his life set up with
So good.
with Option.
So he goes from Santa Cruz to Option.
Well, no, actually, he was on Santa Cruz. I don't know if he got dropped or if he left.
He
but
got hurt when he got hurt up Seymour.
something, broke his ribs one.
That's right.
Yeah, where he got helivac.
Helied out.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that. But then I don't know if he got dropped or what happened, but he was looking for a new sponsor. He was on Joyrides for a while.
Oh, okay.
He was riding like the Bobby Meeks and the Yanni Makinen board. That's how he got Yanni onto Option later.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, they had a good friendship. But yeah, so he was testing out different boards, and then
I remember talking to him at that time, and he was like, "I think I might go back to school."
yeah,
like I think I'm
for
going to
sure.
quit.
Like, he didn't know what his future held, and then he learned the switch rodeo, the backside 90
Insane.
roll switch.
Remember? Okay, so Corey from Invasion
Yeah.
was a park, like he was like maybe the head park groomer guy. Like he would hand dig a bunch of stuff up, and there was right where you talked about riding your skateboard with fucking cleats,
like over by
like behind rentals.
side rentals. Yeah,
They had a park that had a couple of jumps.
yeah.
In a row.
That's where I broke my collarbone.
Yeah, and
Following
those.
Kevin through there. It was the run that goes down between Ridge Chairlift where I did the cable slide.
Yeah,
And where the half pipe is.
that's it. That's it.
But it wasn't the race line, it was the high line.
It was the High Line.
And then it came down to Lodge Chair.
That's right. And they had those jumps there, and
2 tables in a row.
Corey learned rodeos, and Chad,
Yep.
what was his name?
Chad Williams.
Chad Williams learned them.
Another ripper.
And
Chad was like a trampoline legend. He could once he was in the air, he was so
solid.
good at spinning and
So
he was so
solid.
comfortable in the air
And so then Sansalone learned them switch, but I think he could only do them switch. I don't think he could do them the right way around.
I don't know if he did the 90 roll thing or the switch rodeo.
I think it was
thing.
switch rodeo. Maybe it was switch 90 roll. Could have been.
I don't know.
But he won both.
I keep thinking that Swaro came up with the 90 roll. Because it was all about going off the jump, turning 90 degrees, catching your heel edge, doing like a barrel roll.
Yeah.
Like the modern day backside rodeo is not the original like 90 roll.
No, 90 rolls in rodeos were different. So, like, because backside 90 rolls.
But the backside rodeo
backside
evolved
rodeos.
off of the
Yeah.
90 roll because
I think Peter put down the backside 90 roll. I think. Sorry, not I keep saying the
rodeo,
same wrong
backside
thing.
rodeo.
Backside rodeo was
Yeah.
just like front side rodeo was how everyone was doing it, right? Like Daniel Frank and Kevin Young and all those ones. But Peter was like, what would that look like backside? Instead of coming off the toes, you go off the heel. And he did the first like backside rodeos, in my opinion.
yeah, because when they come off the lip, off their heel edge, it's like the board goes up in the air.
Yeah.
Whereas with the 90 roll, it was like you would go off, turn 90,
Yeah,
and flip.
it was insanity. Yeah.
I used to do. I used to do them. I have
Which
video.
way did you do them?
I do a
rodeo
pure 90
or
roll.
90.
Pure 90 roll.
You sent me the video. I've
Yeah.
seen it.
But I never really did an actual backside rodeo.
I recognize Peter's backside rodeo as the right way of doing the backside rodeo.
Yeah, that's a backside rodeo.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the backside 90 roll.
The 90 roll.
I think Swaro's vision of the 90 roll was, I don't know if it was before or after Peter, but
I remember seeing the 90 roll and being like, it looks like a mistake. It doesn't look right. It looks
it's
like you
a
hooked your
suicide
edge.
trick, basically.
Yeah,
Like you have to almost on purpose catch your heel edge.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
you literally
exactly.
go off the jump, turn 90, and kick your feet over your head.
Yeah. Totally.
I always usually grab Indy.
Just to get your body in the right
Like
position.
I don't do the backside grab.
Right.
I'll basically go off of it and then turn 90 and bring my feet up and grab this way and then go over. And then once I see the landing coming, then I'll just turn 90 and land.
Yeah, because the
backside rodeo is like,
with a backside grab is more backside rodeo.
yeah,
It just brings you around a different way.
yeah.
It's interesting though. But okay, so we're talking about a time that we both remember. Like,
Oh yeah, like
Corey
this is
was
when
there every day.
Progression
was going crazy,
Yeah.
and people from Seymour like Kevin were moving up to
Oh, yeah.
full time to Whistler.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
yeah. So basically, back to your thing. Kevin won the X Games, or not? Yeah, he won the X Games. Or no, sorry, he won the West Beach Classic first.
Yeah,
Then he got invited to the X Games, and then he learned it. He learned it switch before at the West Beach.
yeah, he did it the same trick.
He just
at
showed
both.
up and
Yeah.
did it backwards, and everyone was like, "What the?"
Technically, it was the winning trick of Big Air that year.
Yeah,
he won.
and then he went
both.
to, and then he had his invite to X Games, and he went a couple years after. I think he even got invited to Gravity Games.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was all kind of the same American
I
stuff.
remember holding the gold X Games medal and being like,
Yeah.
"This is fucking for real."
Yeah, no,
It's no joke.
He killed it that year.
Yeah, he won it.
He set himself up well. that
And
year.
so, did you get option boards?
yeah, like
on
so,
his gravy train a little bit.
Yeah, like I was between sponsors and didn't have a board to ride, so I was like, "Well, I'm going to support your board. You have a board coming out. Let's do this." So he had met like Johnny Q and those guys through Option, and Johnny Q was the board designer and stuff like that. Like the engineer, board designer. He shaped all the boards and everything. And I think Kevin was like stoked on the balance shape at that point.
Right.
The one with the claw on it that Yurley had the cover.
Yes.
So
The cover. Yearly had like
he had 4
covers.
or 5 covers. He can confirm that one for you. But that was like literally the same time, or no, Ingemar's was like 97, wasn't it? 98? A bit before that, maybe.
I
don't know if
can't
they were
remember
the same
which
time or
one.
not.
It was around the same time.
But yeah, so Yurley's method was almost comparable to that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the actual height on Ingemar's was.
Way bigger, I'd say.
Yurley's looked like it was about probably 18 to 20 feet.
Which one? Because
The one on the top of the quarter pipe at Seymour. Right on the top of the peak.
Up top.
He
the
spent
peak.
5
Right,
days
right,
digging
right.
that quarter pipe.
Yeah. He
He deserves the accolades he got for it.
Yeah, he definitely deserves the accolades he got. He so badly wanted to be Terrier though. That was the craziest part.
Yeah.
He's
a hardworking human.
Yeah, he
Like,
rode Terrier's board.
Oh yeah.
Whatever
Well, no,
outerwear Terrier
obviously
was
we all have
running.
heroes in life.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
what better hero to have than Terrier?
Yeah, there you go.
Like
yeah.
the guy's a legend and he's still killing it.
Yeah.
Like
And then Yurley became a pioneer in the backcountry with sleds and stuff, right? And filming.
well, back at that time when he was already doing the filming then. Because that was like the picture beside you is 1998, 99.
That's him?
That's me on the cable.
No, I mean he shot that.
He filmed, well, no, my buddy Sean Kerr took the picture, but Yurley filmed that in 16 mil.
Your bindings are like loose.
They're Burton bindings, CFX.
Like your
The buckle was broken. Remember how Burton buckles
Yeah,
would break
yeah.
and they would just flop? They
And
would
that's
still
on
work.
that's on a Sansel.
That's on one of his prototypes.
That's so nuts.
So,
Is there someone hanging upside down
yep,
on the cable?
that's Derek Scott.
He's laughing. That's pretty sick. I've never seen that.
The reason he had to do that is because there was no tension on the cable. And so every time I got onto it, it would like bounce me off. Because it'd be like this, like I'd jump on like disaster lip slide, and then it would like
Boing.
boing. See ya.
Yeah. Okay.
So
he-
having him,
yeah.
because there's no chairs, no tension on the cable,
Yeah.
and so having him there would stop the bouncing me off, and yeah. It
So
was,
you trip about this because you claim this is the very first one. What? Do we
I've
know
tried
what year
to
it
do
is?
my research. I've asked everybody else that's done it. I know JP's was after me because Kearns heard that I did it with Yurley.
Yeah.
And then I think he let JP know, and then JP showed up 2 weeks later.
Same spot.
Exact same spot. It was
Right.
still, that was the year of Hell's Amazing Snow.
Oh, 98, 99. So then
and then
you know what
he
year
came
it
up,
is.
he 50-50'd
Yeah.
it for like 10 feet, and then
Sure.
because
That's what your main
JP's
beef
a
is.
legend
Yeah,
in
he's
his own right.
Yeah.
And
Because I'm pretty sure the Jason Ford one is before yours then.
there's a Jason Ford one.
Oh, it's so early too.
I don't even know about this. So maybe
Yeah.
I didn't do it first. I've been trying to ask around, like everybody. Dave Downing did one, but then I looked at the board he's on, and it's a 2002 custom.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
he would have got the board. He would have got the board early. So
yeah.
I'm going to say 2001.
Sure. I saw the Dave Downing one. It's a good one too.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
I don't even.
The
I,
Jason Ford one is just. Anyways, I don't want to burst your bubble.
No,
I know it's your thing.
I don't know. I don't know or not. Like
It's a sick shot.
I have always asked
irregardless.
for someone to prove me wrong.
Right.
So if there is one, I'd love to see it. I don't know if you've seen a photo of it or what, but send it to me if you do.
It's pretty sick. It's during a snowstorm in Japan or something.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what era it is.
What board's he on?
I don't know. If he's on a ride, then it's way early. But if he's on a Solomon, then it's around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Solomon was out by then too.
Yeah, Solomon came out right around that time, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like there was, like I said, there was so much progression going on at that time. Like
Yeah.
at that time, my mentality was just, I want to find something I've never seen done,
Sure.
and let's do it.
You literally thought that.
I didn't know of anyone else ever doing that.
Right.
And then like, because of the snowfall, I walked over there one day and I was like, that cable is only like 10 feet off the ground. Why am I not on it? So I dropped in on the roof behind it in that picture
Yeah.
and came around the building and then down. And then it was just like a natural little tiny wind lip right beside the cable on the other side. That's another jump. Someone tried to hit it from the other side, or I
So
might have
you-
tried to
you're
hit it from the
coming
other
from
side.
over
I
here.
came from that side
here.
and then I get like disaster boards.
Disastered. Yeah. That's sick.
You've seen the video.
I've seen the video. It's good.
And then like the one
And you
time,
went far, dude.
the one time I did the entire cable right to the post, and there was like little bars sticking up by the wheels. I had to jump off, or I would have hung up on them. I slid it right to the tower and then jumped over it and like 180 off and landed and rode away. And I looked back up at Yurley, and he was just hanging his head in shame. And he's like, I missed it.
Right.
So I went back the next day. That's when the photos were taken the next day, because I'm wearing a different outfit in this picture compared to the video.
Oh, yeah, you were on Helly Hansen then.
That's Helly Hansen too.
Yeah, you got onto
Yeah.
Helly Hansen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Where did you get on Helly Hansen from? That's a weird one, because it wasn't really like a no. Not. I'm not saying it wasn't a known
It wasn't
brand.
big in the snowboard
It was,
world yet. They were trying to
hadn't
make
done
their
it.
break
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
The woman Tanya, who was my team manager, she went to Seco. Like she knew us from high
Oh,
school.
sick.
And I think somehow she reached out to me or something, and she was like, "Hey, we're trying to get into snowboarding." I think at the same time Sheen was on Helly Hansen.
Possibly, I don't know. I
He was
remember
more
you
into
were
his
the.
big backcountry stuff. And
Yeah, didn't
that's-
they send you like a lot of shit?
Oh yeah.
They sent you like a.
I could have got anything
boatload.
in the catalog. I
Yeah.
had like jackets for nautical, like
Yeah.
everything, and it was all amazing. The Leafa stuff, the first layer stuff that they did, like I had.
Your whole career was that kind of shit. Like you got the Umbro pants.
Yeah, it's just like-
you got like a crazy.
It's like
yeah.
all like part of, you know,
unfriggin' believable.
guilty by association.
Yeah, remember when the guy came in for the heat molding footbeds, which
Yeah.
were these sole footbeds?
Sean.
Yeah. Did he come into the shop?
Yeah, he came in to sell them to the shop at Lonsdale right after we opened the shop.
And we were like, "This is sick. These are great." And
Or
then
no,
next thing I
not
know
Sean,
is
Steve. It was Steve.
yeah, I don't
remember
remember
last name.
I don't even remember.
Anyways,
Oh yeah, he passed away.
yeah, he
Rest in peace,
he was
Steve.
in a tragic car accident with his son. Actually,
Ugh,
I heard
terrible.
from after that happened, whoever was the team manager informed me of this, because I would call and say, "Hey, is Sean or Steve there?" And Steve Walsh, that was his name.
Oh wow.
And they were like, didn't want to tell me for the longest time. It was kind of weird. And then finally someone was like, unfortunately, like he was in a tragic car accident. I think he was coming from Banff back to Calgary because Seoul was based out of Calgary at that point when it started.
Really great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Best footbeds I've
And you
ever
know
had.
what? It's the best combination with my Intuition liners.
Yeah.
Because you got heat moldable footbeds.
It's insane. You
hold
have
your
to
arch
learn.
support.
You have to learn how to do it though, because if you heat mold them with them in there at the same time, you can cancel them out. You got to heat mold them flat,
Honestly,
and then put your.
I have a
heat
high
molded-
arch, so I don't even heat mold my footbeds.
Yeah, see, I heat mold mine. I would heat mold my inserts outside of the boots so that they're perfect to my feet on a flat bottom, and I'd heat mold a flat thing into my. You know what? I don't do that anymore. Now I just put them in. You know what I do? This is how I heat mold my boots. I take my Intuitions. I heat up the oven to 225.
Intuition break.
And then I turn it off.
Thanks, Crystal.
So that
And Rob.
So that the element is not on when they're in the stove.
Okay.
Right? Duh.
I just have the tube one in the back.
Oh, you've got
in
your
the
own
other
thing.
room there that you slide them onto, like
Yeah.
the original ones
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
turn on with the dial and stuff. And
I
they go
find-
when they're ready.
I like them in the oven because they turn to nothing, no shape, right?
Yeah.
They start
Yeah,
at
they go
zero
back
again.
And then,
And so then what I have on my foot is a full snowboard sock up to my shin. Then I put my sole footbed underneath that. Then I put another sock, a little thicker, but full snowboard sock over top.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just heat mold that one time, the whole thing. And then I pull off the sock, put the thing in, and it's dialed. A little bit of space around the toe. Perfect
Do you use the toe
wiggle
caps?
room. No toe caps, nothing, dude. So actually, you know what? I didn't use the toe caps this time and it didn't work. I need to use the toe caps. I have
some
toe
here.
caps at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seeing as I was the boot fitter at the boardroom for the longest time.
Were you? I don't know.
Jury's still out.
We sold a lot of Intuition liners through 32
Yeah.
at that store.
32 boots.
I think that our boot fitting probably put us on the map at that store.
Yeah, I do. I heat up the liner and I take the internal lacing out of my, I just don't do up the internal lacing in the boot.
Yeah.
But I heat it up. I put on, I like a lot of toe room. So I take 2 of the toe caps.
I remember.
It hurts like hell to do it.
Yeah.
I put 2 toe caps on, put the snowboard, or no, I put a thin sock on. Then I put the 2 toe caps on. Then I put a thin sock over top of it. I heat up the things. When it's ready to go, I put my footbed in it cold because the heat of it's going to heat up the footbed anyways.
Yeah.
Then I put the liner on my foot. I use a tongue liner, not a wrap.
I use a wrap.
I take one of those like 6-inch wide tensor bandages.
Yep, I remember
I wrap
those.
my liner
Yeah.
all the way up, tight around the ankle and around everything else. I slam that whole concoction into the boot
Yeah.
and do up the outside of the boot as tight as I possibly can.
Yeah.
I kick the toes into the ground, the heels into the
It's the
ground.
worst.
It hurts like hell. I feel like my toes are broken.
Yeah.
And then I leave it on for 15 minutes.
Till
and
it's
then-
cold.
Till my foot
Yeah.
feels like it's going to fall off.
Yeah, your feet feel like
And
they
then I just
coulda
rip
died.
everything off, rip it all out. And then I put the liner back in the boot, put the footbed in. And
Yeah. They're so
It
friggin'
works.
good.
Yeah.
They ruin you for any other liner.
oh,
Like you tried like a stock liner from a boot. You're like, I can't believe anyone rides in these.
the only way I can explain it the best is it's like going snowboarding in your slippers.
Yeah.
Do you not feel that comfortable? Like it's just
Up
like
until I crashed my electric car into the back of some poor Corolla, I put my boots on when I was home. I drove to the mountain. I rode all day. I drive home
Yeah.
in my boots.
yeah, because they're comfy.
Because they're the most comfortable thing that I own.
I remember when we were in Lake Louise on that Sims trip. I had Intuition. I was on 32, but actually I was on 32 before when I was still on Sims because I was wearing Sims or Burton. No, sorry, I was wearing the 32 boots, the Peter Line boots, in Lake Louise, and I had Intuition liners. And like a lot of people on the team were getting frostbite. 'Cause it was minus 45 the whole time we were in Lake
shit.
Louise.
Yeah.
Like kids with triangles on their cheeks and stuff. It was that bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was snowboarding in bare feet inside my boots, and my feet were toasty and warm.
Bare feet. Oh yeah. Remember Rob told us to snowboard in bare
The
feet?
barefoot days.
That was weird.
Yeah,
I don't know why he said that.
I don't know.
He just did.
I don't know. The Intuition liners are warm. Like,
Oh, they're
so
hot.
warm.
They're perfect.
They were like swamp boots in the summer snowboarding.
So gross.
But whatever. They still do the job. That was the best part before they had the like interior material glued to them, because just the material itself would dry so fast. Like,
Yeah.
You'd go riding all morning. You'd be done on the glacier by 2. Come down with swamp foot. Take your boots off. Put them out on the porch in the sun. And they were dry.
Yeah.
You're probably reheat molding them, but we didn't even know it at the time. But,
They were so light too. That was the thing.
oh yeah.
They're still so
They make
light.
any boots super light.
They're kind of ridiculous how good they are. Like the fact that they
Do you
aren't
have
in
the Do you
every
have
single-
the booties too?
Yeah, I love the booties.
That's a game changer. Too.
yeah, they're fun. Yeah, Crystal's the best too. I'm so glad that Crystal's in charge of that spot.
Probably my favorite sponsor of all time.
Intuition?
They take care of their people. Yes.
Yeah, they're the best. They're
They're
the
like
best.
a family. They treat you like family, and
Lots of parties,
Yeah.
celebration.
Yeah.
Like that's just the way they
they're
are.
part of the community.
Yeah.
They give back so much.
They save boots, dude. Like I've had the same outers for like 7 years or something now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the liners last for
Yeah.
ever. I've had some pairs of liners some years that have lasted 2 years, no problem.
Yeah. I think my liners I got new liners last year, and I got more new liners this year, so I can run 2 pairs.
But that was when I was doing over like 220 days a year.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing all winter, then all summer. Basically, you're at hood till August.
We still haven't gotten to what you did between. So you did option,
I did option, and then
Rosignol.
yeah, I met Fred.
Yeah,
Uh,
hell of a dude.
yeah, Fred is an awesome dude.
Glackmar. Yeah, he's the best.
Yes, because that was just before I did Out Cold, and during Out Cold, I was on Invasion.
Okay,
So
you had a
Roswell was a
year?
brief stint for about a year.
Yeah.
But they had a pretty stacked team. Like they had JF, they had Dion, they had JF
Travis Rice.
Thornton, they had Travis Rice, they had Andrew Crawford at that
Crawford.
time.
Yeah.
They had Jeremy Jones at that time.
Right. He had a whole
Like they were
capsule.
stacked. So
Yeah.
basically it just came down to like Fred was awesome. He always hooked me up with boards, whatever I needed. But when it came to like a salary type thing, they were like, well, look at the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It was
it's
huge.
just not in the budget right now.
Right.
So then I tried to do the local thing with Invasion. And then that's when Out Cold happened. And that kid, Sluggo, came right into the shop to get me on that one.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember hearing about it.
I was in like fitting someone for boots probably. And Sluggo came in and he's like, hey, Keetley, you want to work? And I'm like, yeah. of course."
Sluggo definitely had the work, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
as a stunt coordinator, like he knew what was up.
Oh, yeah. He was in it way before I even was.
Yeah.
Like he did it with Chalmers back in the day.
Right.
Like they were doing commercials like they were going out of style.
Making tons of
Making
bank.
good dough.
Like good money.
And he always stuck in it. He's probably still in it now. I'm pretty sure.
So the Out Cold thing, I remember you disappeared for a week or two, right? Like
I was gone for 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah. And Lee Majors was in it.
Yeah, it
And
was
Zach
the Malloy
Galifianakis.
brothers. The
Yeah.
Malloy brothers directed it. It had a lot of big names in it that were like just before they broke out.
Yeah, like Zach Galifianakis.
Zach Galifianakis was in it. Lee Majors, Victoria Silvstead, Playboy Playmate, AJ Cook. She's on that Criminal Minds show. Blonde girl. Who else? Oh, Jeremy London.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, Jason London.
Jason London
was
right.
the main character. His brother Jeremy London was in Party of Five or some other show.
Yeah.
They had a twin brother basically. So
the first thing is Out Cold.
Yep. Out Cold. And that was a 6 week, like 6 weeks straight I worked on
And
that.
then you had the big stunt in it. You were supposed to jump out of the
I
helicopter.
did jump out of the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
They took me out the day before. I was by myself with the helicopter pilot. They were taking me to all these remote locations, just getting me to test jump. Like even right on the side of where Blackcomb Heli flies out of, north of like by Green Lake.
Yeah.
They basically just hovered me 10 feet above the snow
And had
just
you
to
jump
get
out.
it started. And we had the conversation because you can't jump off of a helicopter. If you jump up, the blades come down.
Right.
So they literally had to teach me like just lean forward and just slide off the skid.
Sure.
And then so I had to sit on the side, like they would hover me 5 feet, I would jump off or slide off.
Yeah.
Fine, got it. There was actually other scenes in the movie that I had to do where I was like, they were flying me through mountaintops with me standing out on the skid.
Right.
Like I'm holding on an A-Star helicopter. I'm in the back of it. They had a safety strap on the back of me.
Sure.
But I have my snowboard strapped to me standing on the skid. So if I slid off of it, I wasn't falling 2,000 feet.
Yeah. But
And they were like flying me
dangling
through, you know how like you have mountain peaks with horseshoe saddles? They were flying me like through that type of stuff. And they had another helicopter with a gyroscopic camera on the front of it filming all that stuff.
Wild. I just remember Johnson telling me like that.
Yeah, Johnson ended up doing the shot.
He like manned up and he was like,
no, because I went and did the jump the first time. They had this perfect cornice up at Triconii. It was like a cornice that like overhung like probably 10 feet, and then the slope started and it was like a 70-degree pitch.
sick.
It was all fresh snow. The best part about working on that movie up at when we were heliboarding in Whistler, every night it snowed like 1.5 feet, and every single day it was sunny.
Sick.
It was the best heliboarding week
Lucky.
ever.
Just lucky.
Yeah. So anyways,
Amazing.
I did the jump and nobody knew this. Nobody could see it. It was totally white landing. As soon as I landed in the snow, right where my back binding went to sink in, there was a rock like 2 inches under the snow. And right as soon as I came into the snow, I was like ready to drop into nice soft powder. And it was like bang, kicked. And I did the typical gingerbread man for like 400 vertical feet.
Oh,
because it was 70-degree pitch. How are you going to stop?
Right.
And I just got the gnarliest whiplash. And then Sluggo was like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, my neck. Like, I can barely move right now.
Yeah.
I still got paid for it.
And Johnson just was like,
And then
fuck
the
it,
next
I'll do
day
it.
they needed to do, I don't know if it was the same day or the next day. Probably the same day. Johnson, like all of us were up there. All like Devin was up there. Everybody was up there.
Yeah.
for the
Who
stunt.
else was on the shoot?
Oh, there was a lot of people on that. There was Kearns was there. Sluggo, obviously. Devin. Chad Williams was part of that movie.
Sick.
Javis Lane was part of that movie. He was at the nighttime race thing in the beginning.
Javis, isn't he
He's
from
Baker, dude.
Baker? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like Josh Rosen buddy.
Yeah. He
Super-
was on that.
Dude, I was so stoked he did the Josh Rosen thing because I miss him from like summer camps and stuff like that. But he was just the most solid dude ever.
Rad.
It was great to hear that one. But so Javis was another like Josh Rosen dude. He's a super nice kid.
Hell yeah.
Always been fun to be around. I think he's like an artist or something in New York or something.
I don't know. I met him as one of Kelly Joe's camper kids.
Yeah, like way back. He was that Grom back in the day that was ripping Baker, dude.
Right. Like Little B, Brian Hartman.
Yeah,
those guys.
like you had your Jamie Lynn, your Matt Cummins, and all those guys
Yeah.
at Temple, and then there was Javis, who was like the little Baker ripper.
So sick.
He came up under all those guys, and anybody from Baker just rips. Like
Yeah.
they can ride
Oh, yeah.
fast and hard, and
So good.
and charge, and
Yeah.
they throw down the tricks too. They don't
Totally.
even hold back.
Good style.
Just those guys are amazing. But yeah, so Javis was in it. Oh, what's his face? Omar Lundy was in it.
Oh, sick.
He did there's a stunt in the movie where at the end where they're like the snowboarders are taking back the mountain, and they built a quarter pipe up against the chalet at Hemlock, and they had like beer taps set up out on the patio, and he goes up the quarter pipe and does like a backside lip slide and like breaks all the taps off and beer starts. It's like the chaos scene at the end.
I know,
but that's Omar Lundy. I don't know. I'd have to go through the credits, but Sean Johnson was in it. Everybody was in it.
So then you do that. How do you get MXP or whatever? The
that
monthly
was
that's after, right?
So yes, that was after a couple of years. That was a local production here. I think what happened with that one is Sluggo got Sean Johnson on that one. And so Sean Johnson was like the snowboard coordinator, because the whole movie's kids, right? We had to coordinate kids and make sure that everything was safe for them to do. And so Sean brought me in as the snowboard technical supervisor. So I had to make sure all the jumps were safe. Like I had to build all the jumps for the kids, make the snowboard track for the kids to ride, because it's all about snowboard racing. And then I also had to teach the chimp how to snowboard.
Yeah, that was the part that I was fascinated by.
Well, I worked with the trainers. They have a chimp. They came from a chimp sanctuary in Sacramento. There was 3 trainers that came up. There was 2 young chimps, which are star in the movie. There's Louie and I can't remember the other one's name. Louie and anyways, doesn't matter.
Doesn't it seem dangerous? You're teaching these chimps.
Oh yeah, they're 10 times stronger than a human.
Yeah, they just rip
Like
your
even
face
a
off.
6-month-old one could rip my arm off.
Right.
And then they had the mother with them here.
Oh wow.
And one day we were all up in the they filmed it all up at Seymour after the season was done. It was your late spring stuff. Parking lot was empty. They had this huge cube truck that they transported them in, and they brought the mother out one day, and we were all just standing there, and they were like, "You guys all have to be 50 feet back." And it was just one of those scenarios where when she stepped out of the vehicle, you felt the ground move.
Wow.
Like you could just sense her power. They were telling me like the one that was 6 months old, the little guy who was in the main thing, he could have jumped out of a 50-foot tree, landed on the pavement and walked away.
Right.
They don't have ligaments like we do.
Yeah,
And they're so powerful. They're just all lean muscles.
So you're teaching a chimp to snowboard.
Yeah, like I had to create little snow tracks. Like there's like, I have video I could show you, or pictures from behind the scenes stuff where like we were trying to get him to hit a jump. Like it doesn't matter if he gets in the air, he can land and ride away. Option made the custom boards for him, and then they put the K2 clicker system on.
Yeah.
And because his feet are like your hands,
Yeah.
he likes to be able to feel his stuff. So they took the K2 clicker boots and they diagonally at the ankle they cut the boots off. So he would just slide his feet into the boots.
Oh,
but
no way.
He couldn't be restricted. So if they wanted to get him out, or if he wanted to get out himself,
He had to be able to just.
he would just pull himself out and run
eject.
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he held himself in.
Oh wow.
So, like, there was some scenes where they tried to get him to ride like a makeshift half pipe that we made. I don't know why they wanted to do that because there was no real half pipe in the movie. But I had to make like a track that you couldn't see. That like it was a highway basically. That
Yeah.
And like we built like we had cones that he knew he had to get around. So we would try to push him with enough speed so he would make it up and get around one. And
So did he catch air?
yeah, I made him catch air. I dug a little, we made a straight line to a jump. And I basically dug a channel that was an inch deep.
Yeah.
And salted the shit out of it. So
So
that
it
it
would go
was rock
super
hard
fast.
and he couldn't break out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It locked him in place and he just went straight. He only got like 3 or 4 feet of air and
Still.
then just landed and rode
Was he
away.
scared as fuck or
No,
he didn't give
he
a
just
shit?
did it, and he would get treats right after he did it. So that's how the trainers teach him. So it's
wild.
a typical kids movie. Like it's made for kids. There's so many. Like I'm in the movie. Sean's in the movie. Leah Wagner, Byron Briscoe's in the movie.
No way.
They did stunt work in it. There's a scene where the big snowball comes rolling down the hill with the villains in it.
Yeah.
And it like it breaks right in front of us, and it's just all face shots of us. Like
Oh, that's crazy.
there was another thing
I don't think I've ever watched it.
they hired a little person to stunt double the chimp.
Of course.
Because there was a scene at the end of the movie where the kid and the chimp that were racing together did what they called a doom drop at Seymour. And
What drop was it?
it's actually a cliff that's been published, I think Dave Cash, and it's when you walk out into the backcountry past Brockton and you're heading up to City Booter.
Yep.
You get about 500 feet out, and if you turn to your left, there's like a little cliff drop
Yeah,
on the backside.
yeah.
That's the cliff drop. So they paid like 50 grand for this stunt little person to come up from California. They chartered him up here. He showed up on site, and the director, Robert's like, "Hey, Jeff, take that guy for a run. I want to know how good he is." Because he said he could snowboard. So he gets his snowboard. I take him over to Lodge Chair. How long does it take you to get down Lodge Chair? 30 seconds?
10 seconds.
Like if you straight line it, 10 seconds?
Yeah.
It took us 45 minutes to get down Lodge Chair.
Oh, so he's like a total beginner.
He didn't even know how to snowboard.
At all. Right, but
He
you
lied.
would say that. I would
He lied
lie.
to the director.
Fuck, 50 grand, I'd lie.
So I go back to the director and I'm like, this guy lied, man. He doesn't know how to snowboard. She's like, okay. So we go do the cliff scene. They put him in a chimp outfit. And then they tell me on the side, they're like, just push him off the cliff.
50 G's, man, just push me off the cliff. I mean, I know what I'm doing.
He's a little person. Like his arms can't stop him. They're so small. So I basically pushed him. He landed, hit the snow, and just did the gingerbread man like I did on the helicopter.
Right.
He couldn't stop himself.
Of course he couldn't.
But
he was okay. He lived. He got the
fine.
50 grand. He
I don't know if he
check.
got the 50 grand, but
That's fucking awesome.
I think they spent the 50 grand getting him up there. Basically, is what.
Oh my god!
And then he lied and said, and he couldn't even snowboard. So
that's amazing. Okay, so now
It was
we've
a fun
gotten
experience.
through a part of meeting Lee Majors. I remember when you came back, you're like the fucking Bionic Man,
Yeah.
dude. I met
Fall
the
guy, the fall guy.
the fall guy,
Yeah.
like the real deal.
Yeah.
And he's like an A-list Hollywood.
well,
So he was an old timer.
he was trying to resurrect his career at that point.
Sure.
And unfortunately, the downfall to Out Cold is a cult classic in the snowboard world now.
Yeah.
20 years later,
Yeah.
the week it came out the week before 9/11 happened in the
Oh,
theaters.
okay.
It killed everything.
Yeah, of course.
So I think that's how it turned into a cult classic because
Sure.
it went into the theaters, but then it didn't really come out. Everything shut down after 9/11.
I totally understand. Yeah.
So it kind of backfired in that sense. But now, I mean, in all the little snowboard groups I'm on Facebook and stuff, like guys are always talking about it. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I was in that movie. And
Right.
they perk up and they want to talk about it. And it's fun to talk about it
Yeah,
with
some
everybody.
people
'cause-
really care about that movie.
Yeah, and like, you know, us as all kids partying, whatever, like you go to a party at a house and someone puts on the snowboard movie and it's like, oh, check out this movie. It's like the snowboard hot dog.
Yeah.
I mean, the snowboarding in it was better than the plot.
It was actually. You guys did. You guys did a good job.
Even like Bjorn Linus was in it. Mm-hmm. Devin
Devin
killed it back. Devin was in his backcountry prime.
Yeah. Devin crushed it in that movie.
Yeah. And like even Todd Richards was in it.
Oh yeah.
But he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. That's right.
So-
That's right.
Whatever.
That's
we
fucking
all
awesome.
played a part, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
That's crazy.
It was a fun experience.
So
know?
you were on Invasion at that time. So you knew, who do you know? Like
Well, Corey and Shane, I knew.
Shane, Corey,
Yeah, and they,
Chris.
Chris Steves was on, and Derek was on at the time.
Derek
Scott.
Spencer, and Scott were both on.
Josh Lees was another guy.
Josh
Matt
Lees.
Viner.
Viner,
They just
right?
had like a good little local crew of guys, and I just, at that time, they were only doing their cap construction snowboards,
Right.
And I helped work with them to create like these. This is the very
Sandwich boards.
first prototype board with sandwich construction.
I forgot that they were all Cap.
They were always
and then,
Cap.
Right, because Cap came in.
Face.
Oh yeah,
No, look at the logo in the eye.
die cut.
Oh no, this is the wrong one. Whoops. Sorry, the other one's the first one.
Yeah, look at that. So this is late career Keetley. Oh yeah, with the skids.
I
Nice.
hand cut that out
You
myself.
cut that. You cut that.
Yeah. And that's the only board in existence.
Put it on there.
I remember one day my cousin borrowed it off of me and he went up to Seymour
Yeah.
and people were like harassing him like,
You
"Where'd
stole
get
that board.
Where'd
Right,
you get
right.
that board? You know whose board that is, right? And he's like, yeah, that's my cousin. So
That's crazy. Get that mic back in front of your face.
Good.
There you go. Yeah, look at your sponsors. You've got
Etnies 32,
32
Oakley
Etnies.
grenade glove. Oh, I was on mission 6 then.
M6. That shit was so good.
That was when Dez became the team manager.
Yeah, Mission 6.
I was at a.
RDS.
Do you remember when?
How do you have Mission 6 and RDS? RDS wasn't technical.
I wrote for
outerwear.
RDS.
It was just
The shop. It was
the
my shop sponsor
Ah.
at that point.
And you worked at the boardroom.
Yeah.
That's fucking
No,
funny.
I rode for RDS since when they first opened the shop on 3rd Street.
Yeah.
Like the very first shop.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I skated with Sluggo and Anthony Hancock at the RDS skate park all the time skating vert.
Right. I remember when that came out. We were at the you worked at the shops shortly after that. You worked at the shop kind of invasion
stints.
days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jamie Watson got on.
Yeah.
He had been working full time at Invasion. I think Invasion imploded after 3 or 4 years or something.
No, they were around for They were around for a good amount of time before I even got on. And then I think they were around after I stopped riding them. Actually, I'm wondering if... No, Rossignol... I think I don't know who was after Invasion.
I know who it was.
Was it M3?
No. It's Atomic.
Oh, yes. Atomic came along. Mr. Rob Medill.
Yeah.
How you doing, Rob?
Yeah.
That was an interesting...
The Invasion years, like, they had money. They were buying ads and shit. They were doing it the way of a, like, normal...
They were trying their best.
Company.
They were trying
their best. It was difficult because the board construction... You know, they had a little higher than industry standard warranty for a couple of years.
I don't know if their sales matched their budget.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to push them because they were local and we loved them. And Option had merged
here
with
0203 on it.
Yeah. Okay, so that's early.
Yeah. No, you're right. Atomic was after that. I totally forgot. It's hard to remember everything, man. I try.
But yeah, so you brought in Sandwich Construction. They needed it.
Mm. Well, I mean, it was in talks, and I was like, "Yeah, I love Sandwich Construction. Let's do it." And then this was like designing. This was a model I was working on for me, and then like this was the first prototype. This was the very first prototype, but that was just the first prototype graphic.
So the SK thing, we should talk about that because that's during this time. So
that's actually a little bit before this. So originally everybody's Seymour Kids. And then when I was coaching summer camp at Camp of Champions and staying with Kevin had been traveling a lot because of his X Games stuff. And everywhere he went, he carried a video camera. He was always filming everything everywhere. We had those little mini DV cameras, the little Sony ones back in the day that were like this big and they just had the little flip out screen.
Yeah.
And you could put fisheye lenses on them and everything. They were like it was like one chip digitals, like before a 3-chip with the VX and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Kevin was traveling, like doing contests in Europe and everywhere, and we were sitting at his place in Whistler one summer, and he's like, opens a drawer, and he's got like 60 DV tapes full, and I'm just like, we're looking at each other, going, well, so what are we gonna do with this? And then we were like, well, why don't we start logging it all and see what kind of footage we got here?
Yeah.
And then that's how the original before Skids 2, Seymour Skids movie.
Seymour Skids, yeah.
That was what the first one was called, and for nobody that knows this, if you wait 2 minutes after the credits of Skids 2, the first movie's on the VHS tape too.
Really?
20 years later.
Yeah. I knew that.
I'm sure people figured it out. I probably told you 100 years ago.
No, I mean, we watched it at the shop. He wouldn't stop the thing.
Basically, Kevin had this idea. We all kind of had this idea. We just sat at his place and we edited and we came up. We wanted it like short, sweet, tight, to the point. And we, like, at that time, like, I can't remember the big movies at that time, but there was like, I don't know what Mac Dog was doing, maybe Decade by that point. 2001-ish is where I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know what movie, but you had your typical A-grade snowboard movie where a general consumer sees this face shot of this human being and then they see this flawless part.
Of course.
And we kind of had this idea like, let's show everything that happens in between.
Right. Well, plus whiskey was already out and you guys were kind of doing like mini whiskey.
Yeah. It was probably a continuation of whiskey, but it was like, let's show like the behind the scenes. Let's show that we're real people. Let's show, like, we wanted to give something that the watcher can like relate to. Like, oh, I was out partying and I did that dumb thing on the weekend too, you know? So it was, yeah. And then Skids 2 was a continuation of that. And then it's every year it happened, it got more serious, and then Kevin turned it into Sandbox.
Yeah, and in between, you guys had a bit of a fight about it at some point, didn't you?
Not really.
Just
I didn't have a fight with him.
Something about skids or something
basically, like when we first started the movies, like the first one, it was like, well, we're not kids anymore. We can't really call ourselves kids.
Right.
So we're like, how are we going to re-navigate this?
Sure.
And then we kind of, I don't know who or where it came along. It was probably a drunken debacle night in Whistler. But we were like, well, why don't we just take the S and call it Skids? We'll be a bunch of derelict skids.
Right.
Now we're adults. We're young adults. And we're drinking, partying, and fighting all the time at the bars and skating and snowboarding. And
totally.
It just fit.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just fit. So then we made the first mini movie, and we actually premiered it in the summer at Brad Baxter's house in Whistler in
Damn.
Alpine.
Sick.
And everybody was there. Devin showed up. Everybody, Keenan, everybody was there. All the Whistler people were there. And everyone loved it. And so Kevin made 500 copies of the first one. And we just kind of distributed them for free out to the industry.
Right.
We wanted to get the word out. And so that was the plan. And then the next year with Skids 2, sponsors started to get involved. It started to turn into a business. I mean, Kevin, it's Kevin's business. He had the finances to make it happen. I didn't have the finances to put it in. Keenan didn't have the finances to put it in, but we all had the sweat equity to put in. So we did, and it benefited everybody. So, it was our crew at the time, and, the rest is history. And then eventually it evolved we did 4 of those movies, and then it evolved into Sandbox, and Kevin wanted to make it bigger production, and as everything does, it evolves. And then he got the helmet company going as well. And
Right.
so
Right.
he did very well for himself. I'm proud of him for that.
Yeah. Definitely.
Kevin's always been really smart with his money and business, and
Yeah.
he knows what he's doing.
And he takes care of his friends and all
Yeah.
that stuff too,
Yeah,
which was
we've all, anything that he's ever done, he helps benefit us as well. So
yeah.
it's
That's super rad. So probably during the Skids at some point is when you get on Atomic. Maybe after. Maybe it was right after, actually.
no, because in the movie video, I was riding Atomic.
Okay.
I
right
had-
at the end, right.
I was going through injuries at that time. I Skids 2, I broke my kneecap in half.
Okay.
That's one of the shots in the movie. There's a picture of me just sitting there on a pull-out couch with a cast from my crotch to my ankle.
Right.
At the beginning of my part, and it's like everybody was always hyped for early season snow and stuff. So like it snowed up Seymour in like October or something. So we all went up there, found a rail, and we put it in by the old mystery chair when it was like closer down to where the lake is.
Like the swamp, yeah.
Yeah, and we put a rail in down some stairs, but because the snow was so old, it was kind of dead snow.
Yeah.
And I went to front board down the rail, and when I got on it, I was a little bit off to one side, and it tilted over when I was on it. And right as I started slipping off, but right at the end, I clipped my kneecap on the inside of the end rail.
Oh, God.
Like the vertical post.
Yeah.
And it snapped my kneecap right in half.
Ugh.
Honestly, I didn't even know
Gross.
it was broken. I was like, it hurt.
Yeah.
I had my knee braces on at the time, but there was no protection in here.
Yeah.
After that, I found out that they made little kneecaps that you could put in there
Oh, no way.
after the fact.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
hindsight's 2020. But
And you already had a knee brace at that time. Like you were already like going.
Well, no, we
through
were in
shit.
the era where everybody was blowing their knees because they were learning how to build a jump still.
Yeah.
And you'd have a flat takeoff to a steep landing or a steep takeoff to a flat landing,
Totally.
or the knuckles were weird, and people were blowing their knees left, right, and center.
Yeah.
and ending careers.
Right.
Like, this is when your people like, Risto's going out of the industry, like just that time, like
Yeah.
people were just getting injured and their career was done, and then, so I don't know, Kevin got sponsored by them first, I think. And it was just like, I called them up and I showed them all my stuff, and I was like, I'd love to be an athlete for you guys. And they sent me to one of their offices here in North Van.
Yeah.
And the woman took like 60 measurements of both my legs.
Damn.
I still have them. And they built me these carbon fiber titanium knee braces, the CTI 2 knee braces.
Unreal.
Amazing.
Unreal.
I've tried to contact them recently. Like, can I just get spare parts so I can I have my knee braces.
Yeah.
Can I just like get extra padding and new straps and stuff? Like 15 years of wearing those things, the straps are like beat and like they do up, but barely.
It's 20 years now.
Yeah,
dude.
but it's like the other side of the coin too is like, I don't want my body to rely on it. Because
Right.
like I never wore them skateboarding, so like my legs would always be strong from skateboarding, and like my ligaments would be strong. I found like if you would wear them all the time for everything, then I think your legs would rely on them,
Sure. Yeah.
and it might
Makes sense.
it might weaken you in a way.
Sure.
So I would wear them when I was doing gnarly stuff. Like I was wearing them for the cable thing, and I fell on that cable once, and that cable was rusty and burred,
Yeah, dude.
and like The
Gnarly.
one time I fell on it right here, it ripped my snowboard pants right open and it tore into my knee brace.
Oh, wow.
Because there's like little rusty burrs all over it.
Yeah,
That board was
gnarly.
destroyed. Like,
Yeah.
it was literally cut in half when I was done. Just
That's
the amount of
nuts.
cuts in the side of it from sliding. But
So I remember Rob Medill had something to do with Atomic early on.
he was the team manager.
He was like the first rep or something, and then he became the team manager.
He was at the shop,
Yeah, he was.
and then he left to move back east.
Yeah, but
Was that a job opportunity? Why he went back?
It was Atomic.
like, you would know better. You were the manager at the
It
time.
was Atomic. He
so
left to go to
back
Atomic.
for Atomic, and then he was trying to build a team.
But he became like the international team manager.
Yeah, because that was all they had at that.
Yeah.
They didn't have regionals.
Yeah, remember their offering was like what were they? Those boards. The Atomic Hatchet. Hatchet.
That was the jib board. They had the Alibi, which was more like a directional. They had a wide board. I know Matt Beardmore rode for them. He
But
was
it
like
was
their
like-
top dude.
yeah,
Matt
yeah.
Beardmore, Rob loved Matt Beardmore. And then like Matt Beardmore, JF410 got on. Dennis Bannock was on. I was on
there, yeah. Those hatchets were cheap, but they were good.
They were like
good.
their jib
Yeah.
rail board.
But
that's what it was.
we couldn't stop selling them.
No, I know.
because they were
But
so
they
good.
were price point too. They were dirt cheap. They were like
super
$2.99
cheap.
or something like that. Like,
and they were so sick
so
for what you got.
yeah.
And then the Alibi was like more like $4.99 or something. It was like more expensive.
The biggest problem that they had with the majority of their boards was they had the hole pattern wrong. It was set way too far back.
Oh.
Like on an Alibi, I couldn't
Yeah.
even get a centered stance.
Right.
I had to like T-nut them to get a centered stance.
God damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, like it was that bad. And I'm
Yeah,
like-
Atomic was like the ski company that came in last. Like
Yeah.
dead last.
and they tried to go
of
all
crossing
out.
over.
They
Yeah.
tried to go all out, but it was.
They did all right for a few years.
They had no problem giving you lots of product. I'll tell you that much.
All black boards. And
I think the first year I rode for them, I had about 29 snowboards.
was that kind of your last sponsor? Was that like you sort of retire from that or what?
Yeah, I mean, after that, like Kevin started White Gold.
Yeah.
And I just rode his white gold boards because Johnny Q was designing them, and they were a sick shape,
Yeah.
good high end material. Like Kevin was trying to build a nice high end board with good materials, quality product, and
Low production numbers. Like he
yeah,
wasn't
like
trying
that.
to do like
His market was
5,000
high
or
end
something.
customers
Yeah.
that wanted super quality, high end base material, high end fiberglass, high end everything, and they are beautiful boards. They ride amazing. Johnny, the shape's perfect. Yeah, I rode those for a long time.
And is that when you did your camp? What was your camp?
I did foundation snowboard camps up at Seymour.
Foundation snowboard
Yep,
camps.
and it was like a Lego block logo.
Yeah.
I did that from 2007 to 2009.
Okay.
It was good the first couple of years.
Yeah, you were picking up kids that were like the new.
Well, the basis of my camp was kind of like Camp of Champions, but for a winter camp. So it was like
Yeah.
kids that can already snowboard really good, and they want to take it to that next level. They want to be a pro. So
Yeah.
I was trying to help them bridge that gap because they were talented, but they didn't know how to get into the industry. So I was trying to teach them, you got to film and you got to do contests and just all the stuff that goes behind it that sponsors want to see for you to be an athlete to promote them, And like Jed Archibald was a little ripper kid. He was like 13 and he was so talented. And I got him involved with Jay Hilton for ride.
Sick.
Jay started giving him ride stuff. And then I got him hooked up with Derek Height when Derek Height was doing Oakley.
Oh yeah.
I got him on Oakley clothing and goggles and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah. And I don't think I got him on Dakine, but Dakine was a big sponsor of the camp. They really, I think it was Scotty Connerly at the time was the marketing guy.
Yeah,
He moved on to do like Mike's Pizza or whatever down in the States, but
Yeah, I have no idea.
he was a
I
super
only-
rad dude to deal with. He would send me so much Dakine stuff.
Yeah, I only knew Costigan. Costigan was always my
Yeah,
guy
he was the local
best.
here. I was dealing with
Yeah.
the guy down in Oregon.
in Hood River.
But no, Dakine was a huge support for the camp. And the camps were awesome. They worked really well.
How did you get that going? You talk to Eddie or something and say like, hey,
Well,
we're
no,
gonna
I just
get-
had the idea that I always wanted to do it because Seymour back in the day when Andy Boniface was there, another legend that needs a shout out for sure. Andy Boniface made everybody's lives amazing at Seymour.
Totally.
So we did. Andy created these things called the pro camps, where people could come and ride with us. The pros, like Roberta did it, Dion, Kevin, me.
Yeah.
I was there the most, so I did a lot of them. But I like that formula, and I was like, yeah, like a winter like camp that helps these kids get to that next level. So I took a business course at Cap Mall or something. They had this business thing that you could take about starting your own business. And I had the idea for the camp, and I went through the course and I did it and had it all set up and incorporated and everything. And I did it for a couple of years, and then just got a bit of a vibe from Seymour. Like they wanted a piece of the pie. Like they were letting me do it probably because of our years at Seymour. Yeah. And then I started to feel through this, because it gets all weird with insurances and liabilities.
Yeah, of course it does.
And whatnot. And Seymour, I think, I don't know, they probably wanted their piece of the pie. Right. And they were kind of just letting me do it.
And that's got to be right about when you meet your wife too, right? Like, so you're starting to settle down.
I met Bree, my wife, in 2010. So yeah, it was about a year before that I stopped doing it.
2008, 2009, and then
it was kind of like the Olympics happened here. I met her like literally the week after the Olympics. Right. So March 26th or something we met. Yeah. But so I had that idea. I started it up. I ran it for 2 seasons super successfully, and then the third year I felt the pushback vibe was different, and it was like, and it wasn't Eddie or anyone. It was Eddie's always been great to everybody at Seymour. He's been a huge supporter of snowboarding, the community. He's done stuff for us at Seymour that people probably shouldn't have done. Sure. Just like in the early days, like we would build stuff in the middle of the runs, just like with a cat and just totally, But we got the shots, right? So it was promoting I've always classified Seymour as the biggest. It's like Reno. It's the biggest little mountain in the world. Yeah. It has so much exposure, and you get there and you're like, what is this place?
Right. I mean, if you're a real rider, then you understand that the side hits are better than anywhere else. It's a giant skate park, but
it's a training facility like Baker. Like I remember there was a huge influx of like people coming over from Australia. Yeah. And they'd come up Seymour and they'd be like, where's these jumps?
Yeah, where are they?
And we're like, well, they're up there in the backcountry.
Way out there. Yeah.
You got to go build it. You got to hike for 20 minutes to get up there. Right. And go dig for half of a day and build it.
But yeah, having done this podcast for 10 years, I'd say, Boreal, Brighton, Seymour, like those are 3 of the most high key, scene making mountains in the world.
And Baker.
Baker's on its own.
I'd love to come back to the bank slalom.
Yeah, Baker is. Seymour's kind of mini Baker, actually.
Yeah, I was there the year Terrier won at Switch. Yeah, and it was insane. Sick. I think I got 11th in pro that year.
That was super sick.
But that was just insane to watch. I would love to see Terrier come back and do it on a snow skate.
Pat told the story of the Switch race, because that year that you're talking about, Terrier came down, Switch. I think he got bucked in a corner, and he came down the rest of the race Switch, and still...
He beat him by like 2 seconds.
And still was 8th or something like that.
I thought his run was faster. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
We're talking like 90s.
Yeah,
90s.
He was 2 seconds faster than everyone else, like with his good run, and then his Switch run, he was still better than most paid
like 90% of the
field. Like that were making a living as a pro. Yeah. That's what Pat A said. So
and people wonder why he's the legend.
No, they don't, man. We all know why Terrier's the legend. Exactly. He's the fucking the OG, of course. But so
yeah, that happened, and I did the camps for a while, and then, like I said, the vibe changed a bit. The ski school guy wanted to get involved with it somehow, but I was like, I don't really need you involved. Right. And then the year after I stopped doing it, they started the Seymour progression camps, and they were trying to do it themselves.
Which is just Seymour pro camps again, right?
No, but they didn't have any
progression.
Legitimate professional snowboarder to teach it.
Right.
I
hear you, dude.
And the day, There still are super pros now, but the day of the pros have changed.
Of course.
It's not the way it was, but
Right.
it's a whole other podcast.
So now, yeah, like going through everything and getting here, you have more boards than anyone I've ever met. That like in a private collection, probably Patterson's got tons.
Patterson's got me beat by a mile. Probably.
Yeah, but he's like trying for a
museum.
A museum.
Yeah.
This is a personal collection.
I would say
that you've got.
PD's probably got a bigger collection than that.
Again, he has a museum.
How many boards does he actually have? Did you count them?
Oh God, no. But he had hundreds.
I think I've got like, I don't even know if I should say it on camera.
Yeah, they're gonna come and raid your place.
No, they're not even here anymore.
Yeah.
But
you had to put 75 in storage. You were saying, or
yeah,
something?
there's probably 120.
That's nuts, bro.
I need to sell. I have a bunch I need to sell. So like all those ones you looked at before in the other room, they're gonna go.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you catch the bug? What happened?
What
What was the first one where you're like, fuck, you know what? I'm gonna get myself a.
It was a Craig Kelly, that purple one in the
Craig.
middle.
Oh, you wanted the dude? I found
No,
one of
it
those.
was that. I saw it on Craigslist and someone was selling it for like $100.
Yeah.
I didn't spend my family finances to do this.
Right.
Like as how everyone can have a side hustle. It was like I would go on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and I would see someone selling a board that I knew was worth something
Yeah.
for $10 or $20.
Exactly.
So I would buy it.
Yeah.
And then I found all these snowboard groups on Facebook.
Vintage
Vintage
Snowboard
Snowboard Trader, New
Yeah.
Snowboard Trader, Snowboard Trader,
Yeah.
Board Vault, all the top ones. And so I became a member of them. And I had a lot of knowledge, obviously, from where I come from.
Yeah.
So, I would chit chat with people. I would give people knowledge. I would share things. I would talk with them, part of the community. And yeah, like I just started, like if I found a board cheap here, I would, buy it and then I would sell it through the groups and make some money. And then I would take that money and turn it around and buy another board that was worth it. And
Yeah.
it just slowly grew.
Yeah.
The pot grows over time. And then and then I started finding boards like, oh man, like I want that one in my collection. Like the Derek Scott one with the Iron Maiden graphic.
Yeah.
I found that one in Japan.
It's sick.
And it's like brand new. I don't even think there's been bindings put on it.
I don't see.
And to
any
find a
rash.
luxury board that looks brand new, has never touched snow, that's
Right.
30 years old,
Yeah, man.
is kind of a gem. And I think that spray can luxury was actually Derek's.
It looks like. Yeah.
And I didn't get it from Derek.
Oh, wild.
I got it from a thrift store down in Vancouver for $20.
Nice, dude.
But the thing is, the session sticker was Kevin. The dragon was Kevin.
That's true.
Bakota foot stomp pads.
Yeah.
Shout out Kevin Bakota.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And yeah, it screams, and it's a goofy stance, which is,
There's Goofy.
I know it's got both on it, but I got it at the thrift store.
Yeah.
So, but Derek definitely wrote a stance set back like that.
Yeah.
And so
That makes sense.
I would put money on that's Derek's board or
That's
one of
rad.
Derek's boards that he could have sold.
So rad.
But yeah, so, and then, like I said, and then
What's your favorite one that you found?
probably the Craig Kelly out of the barnyard find in Saskatchewan.
Yeah. And then
Because I wasn't expecting it to be a prototype.
And you were saying you've sent it off to JG to get some
I sent
sort of
pictures
idea.
to this guy, Alex Pinter, who is a photographer for Burton.
Yeah.
And he does Board Vault.
Yeah.
And then he talks to JG. When JG left Burton, someone had to unload his JG's collection.
Oh, wow. Such a good dude, man.
JG hooked me up like through most of my snowboard career. He was sending me bindings all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Like when I rode for Sims, that link binding that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of that link binding, it was shit. It was horrible. And it was in my contract that I had to ride their bindings. And I'm like, fuck. I would try them. The straps hurt like hell.
Yeah.
They didn't have everything clicking right. So I would ride Burton bindings. But then I would go on a team trip and I'd forget. And I had Burton bindings on my board. And Scott would be like, what the fuck are you doing with Burton bindings on your board? You're under contract for the link binding.
Right.
And I'm like, then make a fucking binding that's great. Copy this. It's not rocket science. But it was a constant battle, but I just rode what felt good. What are you going to do? Ride shitty stuff? Like,
I remember when you and I think Kevin as well, I'm not sure, but had those fucking skybacks and you guys were trying to get
we
the
custom made
carbon
them out of
fiber
carbon fiber.
skyback. Jesus.
With
Too
Dan Monk.
much. Too fucking much. Those Skybacks were insanity.
You know what the funny thing is I think I have them in the garage right now. Jeff Martino just gave me a pair of original Skybacks.
Oh, wow.
They're shorter than regular highbacks now.
What? Really?
I have them I have them.
Skybacks
Real original team Skybacks. The team Skybacks.
are shorter than regular highbacks right now? Holy shit.
Because I was like, wow, I want to see some. Because he posted on Facebook like that he was selling them for like $20, and I'm like, messaged him. I'm like, dude, I'll take those. He's like, if you're gonna take them, you can have them.
Just have them.
Yeah,
Sick.
but
Martino's awesome.
Oh, it was just good to see Jeff Martino. I haven't seen him in so long, and he's always been a good dude in the industry. He helps so many people.
Totally.
Price.
I can't friggin' wax my board enough for it to be properly fast. And I don't even have a job. I need a wax guy. You want to wax all my shit?
I got it all set up right there.
I can't. I just.
I
don't have
need
time for
I
it.
need Matt Cummins to send me a bunch of 1-ball-J.
All right. We'll work on that.
And
We'll set up the Keetley Pro Wax
I
seminars
can
over
do it in
here.
about 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I usually wax my board right before I go up the
It
mountain.
took me 45 minutes to wax my board the other day.
You know what? I just wax
And
and
I
hot
didn't even
scrape.
scrape it, dude.
I just wax and hot scrape.
I didn't even hot scrape.
I got a roto brush and everything. I just like.
Oh my God, I want that. Okay, I'm bringing my boards here. Well,
I'll do your board.
Tuesday nights, go
Tuesday I'll be
skate and
skating.
then go skate and then wax 10 boards or something. All right, Keetley, thanks
All
for
right.
being a part of this.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
getting
me
me
on.
that job with. We didn't talk about mild 7, but that was fun.
Yeah, well, we can come back to that.
Yeah, I mean, you had a lucrative career in snowboarding, and you're a big part of the Seymour scene. And
I just try to help out however I can.
And you look at that binder. You got a binder of about 6,000 shots. It's unreal, man.
Yeah, cover shots, fun shot. I don't know. I just like to do stuff outside the box. I mean, these are some of my favorites. That one over here, like riding along the wall, that's a Creekside in Whistler.
Sick.
I did that with Matt Standish, Jeff Keenan, and Leanne Pelosi at like 3 a.m.
Sick. Right on,
Yeah.
Keetley. Always good to see you.
Yep, you too.
Thanks, dude.
Have a great day.
You too. Peace. FNRad shoutouts to Jeff and Mackenzie Keetley. Thank you guys for doing the show. Big shoutouts to all our Patreon listeners. Thank you for all the love and support for season 10 of FNRad. Be sure to come back next week for more FNRad snowboarding presented by Flojoy Water and brought to you by FNRad Productions.